should be live, sir.
Woo!
Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. There we go. Oh, cool, that works. Alright, so the alert bot works, so that's good to know. Alright, but we are live, like I said, so welcome everybody. Episode 2 of our NORA little podcast series. I am league owner and one of the admins, Josh Conover, along with Corey Danielson, another admin that we
Hello.
have added. Corey runs in our Cup Series and mainly admins the trucks. I run in the Truck Series and kind of admin wherever is needed. Well, I guess Corey, like I said, you admin the Truck Series. So I guess we missed 2 weeks ago now. Or no? I guess it was last week.
Yeah, man, last week was interesting.
Well, like I said, we missed last week's podcast because of my real racing schedule, I guess we can say. But as I said too, you also admined the truck race, which I'll let you kind of start on that as I pull results up and stuff, and we can kind of go from there.
All right, well, it was Daytona as usual. So I mean, and a lot of side-by-side racing, a lot of bumping and banging and stuff like that. It's Daytona and trucks, so shit happens like that. And other than that, it was, aside from a lot of kind of sketchy moves made by a lot of the drivers that we expected would kind of make some sketchy moves. And it was relatively calm, I guess you could say, for compared to what our testing sessions have been. So that was a big relief to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I know just from being on the track, I know myself and my teammates, which for the trucks it would have been myself, Susie, Boyer, and then we actually had Joey Stats in our fourth truck. But I know our strategy and then a couple other guys too was kind of just ride. Especially it was a 100 lap race. We had stages at 25 and 50, and I mean you could tell right from the drop of the green there was two different strategies going on. Like I said, we all kind of dropped, and then there was guys that wanted to get to the front and lead laps and not really dominate per se, but just you know what I mean, like kind of just lead and not fall too far off.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, as soon as the green flag dropped, you could definitely tell there was a multitude of strategies going. Like, looked like, uh, from about 10th forward, nobody really wanted to move from where they were at. Then about 10th to 20th, seemed like it was a mixture of, well, I'm just going to drop back. I have 100 laps to wait this out. And some other guys that were like, well, if they're all dropping back, then I'm going forward. And then some other guys that are like, well, I'm just going to hang out here, let those guys go up, let those guys drop. I'll just hang out in the middle. And then, the rest of the field, it was just a crapshoot. Because, I mean, with all those strategies going, like, it really made adminning that race very difficult. But for the most part, they kind of really stayed together for the most part. Like, it wasn't too difficult trying to keep an eye on, like 4 or 5 different groups of cars. It was, for the most part, it was calm when it came to getting situated.
Right. I mean, you never. I mean, well, I guess you can kind of just say you never really know what to expect. I mean, obviously, I'm sure some guys kind of expected the carnage and whatnot, but I mean, like I said, you just never know. I mean, I'm just kind of at a loss of words. Like it just as soon as like even the first stage, I think we had one or two big ones, which like you said, it kind of just makes adminning kind of scratch your head somewhat. But like it's tough. It's really all you can say.
Oh yeah, and especially the thing that really made it more difficult. So there were a couple instances to where there was about two, three, four truck wrecks, and caution never came out. So especially with the leaders, I know one instance it was with one of my drivers, Nathan Shiflett. He was cruising along in fourth, got door slammed. He and the 51 spun, and then like two or three more trucks kind of spun to avoid them. Caution never came out, so they screwed their races up completely. They separated the packs a lot, which really made it difficult for admin wise, because you have everybody behind that hitting their brakes, and then everybody in front of that they just checked out, and then the guys that were caught up in it, they're pissed because caution never came out. Well, as a lot of people know in our league, if iRacing does not throw the caution, we're not going to. That way, it kind of takes away with the whole, well, what if? Well, that way, we ain't got to worry about it. iRacing don't throw it. Sucks, but deal with it. And, that's what happened. And, there were a couple times where, we had that happen in the race, and it really screwed up some really fast cars. And definitely a lot of guys that were running top 10, top 5 the entire race, they got caught up in that shit, and it just sucks for them, but it really, really opened up the book as to who the hell's going to win this.
Right. And I noticed just looking at the view counter, I have a couple guys tuning in. Um, League guys or just fans in general, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to chat. I have my chat open. I'm not sure about Corey, but we'll answer any questions you might have about the league in general or a certain race or whatnot. Like I said, thank you for tuning in. Sorry. Um, but yeah, like the situation you're talking about too. I know it was in stage two because um, Nathan ended up eighth in stage one, which just touched on stage one. You had Richard Reagan won the stage, Blade Timmons second, Mark Arthur third, Alex Edelman fourth, Tyler Davis fifth, Roy Crump sixth, Joey Stat seventh, Nathan Shiflett eighth, Torrin Schurtz ninth, and Martin Plute 10th. Now, just going off of that alone, obviously again, it's Dega. Wow, I'm jumping way ahead. Daytona, um, and like you said, anything can happen. But like looking at that, are you kind of surprised by some of the names?
Yes and no. I mean, in all honesty, I wasn't necessarily surprised with seeing Nathan up there. Uh, just seeing his horrible luck the entire time with running testing and stuff like that, I honestly figured, he might have gotten swiped by somebody and, taken out early on. But, I mean, I was very pleased to see he was up there running, top 10, top 5 the entire race until, that non-caution wreck kind of taking him out. But as opposed to the other guys, I mean, some of them, obviously, we kind of expected to be up there. But some of them as well, they just took advantage of what fell under their lap, and they were the ultimate opportunists on that one, and big props to them for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, which, like I said, I mean, like the big one you had in stage two, and even then, I think it was rather early in the stage because I know I was kind of still kind of right with the pack, I think, because it kind of scared me. I saw the smoke and then was like, oh boy, this is, a little closer than you want to be this early. Um, but yeah, but actually, it might not have been stage two because Nathan, I'm looking at the finishes, Nathan was actually second for stage two, so it might have been stage three.
Um, I do think there might have been a big wreck in stage 2 that happened I think it was about the top 15 when it happened. If I'm thinking correctly, I do remember a couple of wrecks that a caution came out on. Because I mean, like you said, like a lot of people know, cautions breed cautions, and outside of the stage cautions, we did have a couple of wreck cautions, and I do believe like the first big one was in stage two, and if I'm correct, I think it was between 15th and 20th place when it happened.
Right. I mean, like I said, just looking at stage two again. So obviously, you had Richard winning the first stage, so obviously a playoff point there with our new stages and whatnot. So stage two was actually another photo finish because I know both the stages were for trucks. We had Dustin Hall grabbing the win in that one. Your driver Nathan second. Tyler Hargrove, which I believe we will have in a little bit, join us for a quick interview. Um, Keegan Bitzer fourth. Edelman fifth once again. Mark Arthur sixth. Zach Wilson seventh. Brian Jones eighth. Blade Timmons ninth. And Torrin Schurtz 10th. One thing I do notice just from looking at the stage finishes, the first stage obviously had Roy and then my guy Joey sixth and seventh. So you kind of, I guess you could say, cut out stage points for two drivers right there. But the second stage, and I've said it, in the first podcast, and I've even said it, I think, in one of the Facebook write-ups I did for the truck race. The trucks are arguably the toughest series, not just for skill level sake, but the amount of drivers we have going for a title. And just to kind of prove that, that second stage right there is all championship drivers. So right there, from your stage winner, Dustin, who gets a playoff point, so he's already, one up on other people who don't have a stage win come playoff time, plus his 10 bonus points for the stage, all the way down to 10th are all, basically already at least 1 point up on you. So it's Daytona, yeah, and I think we had 4 owners points guys running that night because we had a full field of 32, but it's just, like I said, you figure Roy, which I think Roy was actually, that's when he had that pop up with his VR and it spun him out. And then I think Joey was in one of the wrecks, or he might have been in the back with us. But just like I said though, right there, it's tough to make up points when everybody getting stage points is a championship driver.
Right, and that was huge for those guys in stage two because I remember listening to you guys talk and you guys seeing the top 10 for stage points or for stage two, and I remember hearing quite a few guys chime in. It's like, well, shit, we're already in the hole even bigger now, and I know it was only race one, but those stage points, like, even though the stage points that early in the season, with the race schedule being that short, it shortens everything up for you a little bit more and makes it a little bit tougher for you to catch back up. Even though I know a lot of guys have the strategy of, forget the stage points. We want to be there at the end to get the bigger points where it matters. But, you know, getting stage points and then some of these guys also finishing in the top 10, it really puts a lot of other championship drivers in a hole real quick.
Yeah, that's something we can touch on too as we move forward. Just having less championship guys, like more so, especially for B, and then I noticed it obviously for Cup last night. But you fast forward end of the race, and then Randy McCaney led one lap the entire race, but he was on the bottom, I was up top, and I said it when I crossed the line in Discord with my team guys. I said, I think I just led the wrong lap, and sure enough, he had a better push, got clear, grabbed the win. Like I said, led one lap. So I mean, good strategy with him, good call. Which he actually hung out back with me and my guys. I think most of the race. I think every time I had looked at a line to get air in my nose or something, I saw the 9 truck right there with us. But yeah, Randy won. You had an owner's points driver and Brian second. And then again, just going back on our point though, Brian Jones third, myself fourth, Burchett fifth, Keegan sixth, Susie seventh, Torrin eighth, Hargrove ninth, and Mark Arthur 10th. So right there, not even going through the whole field, just in your top 10, you have 9 championship drivers and only one owner's points guy.
Yeah, and that finish, like you said, I mean, those final 3-4 laps, I mean, they were like just watching it. It was kind of stressful because I mean, being friends with you and a couple of the other guys on your team and stuff like that, it's like you're kind of pulling for certain people, but at the same time, you're trying to stay kind of unbiased. But at the same time, it's just like just watching everything that was going on, like a lot of jockeying around, going up in the front group with you guys, a lot of pushing, just hearing the intensity or kind of build in your guys' voices as you're like, dude, come on, you got to push. I need a bigger push. I need to push now. Push, push, push. And then kind of silence from the other guys because, they're talking in their other rooms and stuff like that. But it's just like, it kind of gives it that sense of like eeriness a little bit to where it's like you hear so much picking up with you and your team, but yet seemingly dead silence coming from the other guys around you. And it's like, okay, well, I know you guys got your strategy down, but what are these guys doing? Because like you guys are trying to go, 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 try to get up there and go, while these guys are just kind of just hanging. They're just there, and it's like at some point they're gonna go, but is it gonna be too late?
Yeah, I think too. Just thinking back to this, 'cause I know the wreck that had Nathan. I think when there was no yellow, it kind of separated the fields a little bit to where I know like me, Susie, I think Jake and a couple other guys kind of were in a second pack trying to catch the leaders. I know that's how we actually judged our pit window. As soon as we caught them and had their draft, we would pit instantly. We were in our window, we knew we were good, so we just wanted to get as much speed and time gain as we could, catch their draft, and then, like I said, peel off, pit, get that done, and we'd be good. And all the guys on that strategy with us that were in our pack, it worked out because I think we ended up um, gapping everybody else. Just one partially because obviously we had a lot of us in that pack. There were actually 7 of us in that pack pushing and on the same strategy, and we all pitted together and whatnot. And everybody else, I think it was, I'd say about 8 trucks, like 8 to 16th, it seemed like. So 8 more trucks stayed out, but they didn't have the teamwork that we did. They all pitted different times coming down, got separated when they were back on the track. So we ended up pulling the second pack, I guess, at the finish by 18 seconds. So you figure just by gaining all the time we could, by catching up, pitting, and then obviously staying linked up when we left compared to them not. When they pitted, they were, I think, on the exit road on the apron when we blew by them, and then just because we were already hooked up and already at the speed and they weren't, like I said, we just pulled 18 seconds and then, settled it between us. So, but like just going off the importance of stages and stuff again one more time, and then kind of looking at the standings after Daytona, a guy like me didn't get any stage points Daytona, got 1 point for leading a lap, and even actually Randy too. 40 points for a win, plus his 1 point for leading a lap, so 41. I finished fourth, had 34 because of my bonus point. But, guys like Mark Arthur finished 10th, but he also got his bonus point for leading a lap. So right there, he's only at 28. But again, 8 points from stage one, 5 points in stage two. And that at the time had propelled him to actually a tie with Randy for the points lead. So I don't want to say it's like a bailout per se because there's an other side of the spectrum too. Guys, got stage points, but then didn't finish as well as they wanted to, and it hurt them. But guys like Randy
Right.
and myself, no stage points, but we finished first and fourth. And like I said at the time, Randy was tied for the point lead, and I was sitting sixth. So
Right. And I mean, that's like you were saying, that's like, you're kind of playing with fire there too, because like just like how we've seen so many times in real NASCAR with these stage points and shit. It's like this what NASCAR wanted to do with these stage points is create that intense racing early on, rather than keep these guys that just want to hang out in the back and then like the Kevin Harvicks just hang out in the back and then swoop in for the win at the end. Whereas, a lot of these guys have the same strategy, like, okay, well, I want to get stage points, stage points, stage points, and then if I stay good, I should be up there, for a really good finish, top 10, top 5, maybe even win this thing. But like, it's like playing with fire because you never know what the hell is going to happen. Because like, you could be up there consistently getting, top 5s, top 10s for stage points at the end of every stage, but then, third stage, especially with this new tire model, I mean, somebody could, blow a right front, and then next thing you know, they're up your door and you're in the wall. Your race is screwed. So it's like, you never know what's going to happen. Or you could even, like you said, at Daytona or Dega and stuff like that, you could get taken out in the big one up near the front while you're trying to jockey around for more position. You just never know what's going to happen. And, a lot of these guys that did pick up stage points at Daytona, it did bite them in the ass. But, at the same time, it kind of saved some of them as well.
Yeah, it's definitely been a factor. And then, like I said, we can touch on the B series mainly because it's been stage points galore for one driver. But like I said, we'll touch on that here in a second. But just leaving Daytona, oh, excuse me, you have the new truck chase field that goes up to 10. So leaving Daytona, you'd have really just going off points here, but you'd have Randy as your 1 seed because of his win, obviously. You'd have Mark Arthur, Keegan Bitzer, Brian Jones, Hargrove, myself, Alex Edelman, Torrin Shirts, Joe Burchett, and then your guy Nathan Shiflett would be, excuse me, the 10 in the chase at that point. I'm not sure if you remember exactly, but do you remember who's going for a Truck Series title? And then if you do, is there any surprises? I mean, obviously just race one, but is there any surprises that wouldn't have made the top 10 right there?
Oh man, I honestly can't remember out of those guys that who was going for a truck title. I know for sure my guy was, and I was very pleased to see he was top 10 in points leaving Daytona. I mean, at Daytona, it's always a plus to walk out of there with a good point or with a really good points day, especially with being a team owner and stuff like that. It's like you just kind of it's such a crapshoot, and when you're trying to pick up owners points, and especially for a driver that's just trying to pick up points themselves for the championship, it's always such a big shit show because you never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to finish in the top 10 or if you're going to finish dead last because you might get taken out in the big one. But it's like, I definitely feel like after Daytona, like it was really difficult to really, I guess, gauge how I felt about how the top 10 in points would have been leaving there. I have no idea how to feel about it. All I know is I expected you to be up there just because you've always been so good up there with at plate track. Same with Susie. And I'm just really pleased to see my guy was up there, leaving there.
Blade in the chat, our first, I guess, comment you could say. He goes, "This is definitely a strategy game if you want the stages or the final stage," which, like we said, it's not really a double-edged sword per se, but like I said, look at guys like Randy and myself, no stage points, but finished first and fourth. And like I said, Randy obviously won, but he was still tied for the lead, and I was sitting sixth. Where, like I said, Nathan got stage points, Blade actually got stage points, and Alex did, but they were still behind us. So I mean, it's a battle for sure. But mainly, I feel like it's just because it's Daytona. Because I feel like obviously this week you didn't really have that strategy. It's like, well, do I want to wait for the wreck or do I just go for it? You know what I mean?
Right, and I completely agree with Blade there because I mean, I know we're going to touch on it here in a little bit, but in my cup race, I mean, that's what me and my guys were thinking about too. Was what are we going to do here? I think we're just focusing mainly on trying to stay clean, stay out of the BS, and then try and be up there in the final hunt to push our way for getting 4 of us in the top 5. And we'll touch on that here in a little bit as well, but it's definitely the whole strategy part of the game. It's so difficult at Daytona.
Uh, 100%, man. But I know I asked you, obviously, kind of your surprises for say, but I have our chase grids from the first episode we did, and just kind of look and see who we picked and who wouldn't be there. I know right off the top of my head, he only would have been 2 points out, but both of our original champions at the beginning of the season, Susie, he would have been, like I said, 11th, 2 points out. So that would have been one. Looking at my other picks, I had my final four was Burchett, Susie, Davey Hendricks, and Hargrove. So I would have had, see, Hargrove was in, Burchett was in. Davey actually missed the truck race. I think he was in Daytona, actually. I think.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, so he missed barely. Like I said, I had Hargrove. You had Burchett, myself, Susie, and then Coy, which Coy, I've actually talked to him. He's been real busy at work, so he hasn't run anything yet. But so right there, I mean, you're technically batting 50%, and I'm up at, I guess, what would that be, 75? So I guess the main surprise, just as far as our championship picks go, would definitely be Susie. Um, but like we've been saying, though, Daytona, it's just, you never know what you're going to get.
Oh God, no! I mean, that's why just seeing everything leaving that track, it's like I said, as a car owner's standpoint, thank God my driver's up there on the top 10 points leaving that place, because hell, he could have just as easily been dead last.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are glad we're out of there, but we'll move on. Obviously, that was Monday night's race. You move on to Wednesday. Um, you didn't run this one, did you? No, you didn't.
No.
Um, so obviously, we ran probably a month worth of testing, guys kind of getting the kinks worked out, whatnot. But now, it's go time. You got, I think at the time it was 14, 15, 16 maybe B guys going for a title. So, I mean, like I said, it's at this point, it's go time. Everybody's, amped up, ready to go. We go to qualifying, second time qualifying of the season. I'm a little biased, but my guy, Dalton Tucker, sits on the pole. A close pole, not like, it's dominating, but Jake Boyer's guy, one of his guys actually, Josh Thaxton in the new Fireball team. Second, Christian Snyder, our Truck Series champion, obviously moved up to B. Sits third, Todd Slauson fourth, and then Jameson Miller fifth. So, we talked about trucks being arguably the toughest series and how it's all, championship guys up front. And even the B series, actually Ethan was sixth, so even adding one more, the top six in qualifying, which obviously is just qualifying, but all championship guys.
Oh yeah. The B guys definitely, for the championship points drivers for the B series, they definitely stepped up their game for qualifying, and I know there was a lot of just owner's points guys there, and it definitely, like, the championship drivers definitely wanted it to be known that if you wanted to be in here and intervene in our championship race, then they were going to fight you tooth and nail for it, because I did not expect that much, I guess you could say, dominance from all these championship drivers going to Daytona, just because it is such a wild card. But that's exactly what happened right off the bat with the B series there.
And, it's funny I touched on Ethan, qualifying sixth, we run obviously the realistic weather, so, he might have had a little bit more wind than somebody, or, any factor, can come into play. But I think it was lap one or two, he was already up front and establishing, if you're going to want the speed title, you're going to have to go through me, to get it.
Oh yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think he was probably our agreed champion with the B series. Because I mean, I didn't watch much of that race. I had other stuff going on, but from what I did watch, it was the Ethan Lane show. Period. Because every time I'd peek in, he was out front. I'd check in every once in a while to see where my guys were at. and then I'd go back to what I was doing. But every single time I'd peek in, Ethan was leading the pack. Every single time.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny you mentioned our champion, but when we did the first podcast, he was originally going to be going for Cup. So we didn't pick him to win the title for Cup, but I had him in my final four. You had him uh, out in the round of 12, actually. So,
Oh.
yeah, we actually had my guy Dalton winning the B title. We both did.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But just touching on Ethan, like I said, though, he definitely say he was the most aggressive guy all night. I know a couple guys were kind of not really irritated, but kind of surprised, I guess. Just even like lap five when he was up front, or guys would get a run. He'd go up, block the run, and stay out front. I mean, again, he showed just dominance. It was a 102 lap race, and he led 75 of them. And like I said, we've talked about stage points. What guys want to do. He swept both stages. So again, right off the bat, going into the third stage, he has a max points night. You know what I mean? He led a lap, so he got that bonus point out of the way early. He's got both stage points, so right there, he's already 21 points. So all he would need was a win to have a perfect night, which obviously, if you look forward to the end of the night, he ended up winning. So, right out of the gate, shows his dominance, puts himself in the chase, and gets a maximum points night.
Oh, yeah. And that is, I guess I wouldn't necessarily say it surprised me, but it was just one of those moments to where it definitely put a lot of you champion, or a lot of I guess not you. You're not a championship driver in the B series, but it definitely put a lot of the champ drivers in the B series on notice that everybody, I guess, had a little sigh of relief when Ethan said he was going to go for the cut points. Because we saw it in the chats and stuff like that about how a lot of people thought Ethan was going to be so dominant in the Cup Series because it's Ethan, it's Ethan, it's Ethan. He's so fast, he's so aggressive, he knows what he's doing, blah, 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 blah. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, it's like, fuck it, I'm going to go with the B Series. And then you could just feel everybody just be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I know, just because our strategy changed mid race, we were kind of doing the same, right in the back, and we found real quick. Not that you couldn't get back to the pack, but it was harder than the trucks were, obviously. So that second stage, we kind of changed it up and went to attack mode. But um, stage one finished, like I said, Ethan obviously won. My guy Dalton was second. Roy Crump again, third. Trey James, one of our newer rookies, fourth. Todd Slauson, fifth. Josh Mayu, sixth. Topper Dugas, seventh. Douglas Hess, eighth. Paul Granada, ninth. And then Corey Wharton, 10th. So, we touched on the truck not really having too many owners points guys running. We had two in the first stage, but right there for the B, you have four owners points guys. Like I said, just kind of getting in between the championship guys and um, mixing it up. Mixing it up obviously won, but kind of keeping some of them from getting more points.
Oh, yeah. And I think as the season progresses, I think we're going to see a lot of different more strategies play on because the owner points guys definitely showed that they have nothing to lose. They're out there for bonus points. Almost checkers or records for those guys. And if you're a championship driver, you better be changing your strategy because if you get too many of these owner points guys in front of you, they're going to be a bitch to pass, and then you're going to be in a little bit of world of hurt trying to get around them.
Oh yeah, which it's kind of tough on the other guys too. Like obviously just touched on Daytona, like when Ethan goes out and dominates like he did, and we're mixing it up in there. It's it makes it that much harder. And then even for stage two, you didn't have Roy, you didn't have Mayu, you didn't have Dugas, you didn't have Hess, but even Jake and I look at the finish, we're up there mixing it up too. But again, like I said, Ethan obviously won stage two. Granada was second that time. My driver Matthew George third. William Downham fourth. Trey still fifth, and then like I said, Jake sixth, Thaxton seventh, myself eighth, Snyder ninth, and Slauson 10th. So only 200 points guys at that time, but still, I mean, like I said, Thaxton you guys could say, quote unquote, loses out on a point because Jake was behind Jake, and then at the same time I kind of prevented Snyder and Slauson from getting that potential 1 point that might be needed.
Oh yeah, and it's in the championship hunt. I mean, 1 point is going to mean so much because I mean we've seen so many times in other leagues and in even real racing and stuff like that. Just 1 point will make or break your championship, and even though it's so early on in the season, you know, just that one little point could hurt you, and that's why so many points guys don't like these plate tracks, just because that 1 point could kill you. Period. And I feel like a lot of these owners points guys just being up there mixing it up so much really hurt a lot of the championship drivers, just because they're taking away a lot of points for these championship drivers that they don't need. I mean, they do, but they don't. They're just sucking in owners points. But for championship points, it don't matter to them. I mean, they don't give a damn. They're just out there to win. That's all they care about. And especially at a place like Daytona, everybody wants to win at Daytona. So for these guys to be out there mixing it up and seemingly being a lot more aggressive right off the bat, it really seemed to me like from the times where I was watching, that's how a lot of Stage 3 went.
Yeah, and Randy just goes in chat. Goes, stage points are better at this point. A win is a win, but the points are all coming from stages, which, I mean, you can't argue with that. I mean, at this point, he's 100% right. A win's a win. It doesn't matter. I've said it a couple times, to come from Vin Diesel. Don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. A win, winning's winning.
Right, and I guess thinking about with what Randy said here, I mean, I guess I can see a lot of truth in it, because yes, stage points are better at this point because they're free points that nobody else in the field's going to get. Period. If you finish in the top 10 at the end of the first two stages, those are free points you're going to get. And at the end of the race, you're going to get points in no matter where you finish. I mean, yeah, it's going to hurt you if you finish top 5 in both stages and then, wreck out and then finish, 45 laps down in, 30th place. It's going to hurt you. But those stage points are free points. That's a big help.
Oh, yeah. And then, just like I said, Ethan, the perfect night, both stage wins, lap led, and then obviously the race win. Just leaving Daytona, he's got a 15-point gap over, I don't want to say at the time teammate Paul, because I don't know what's going on with that situation, but over his teammate Paul, and then Trey third, 16 back, Thaxton fourth, Jameson Miller fifth, Slauson actually tied for fifth, Snyder seventh, Briscoe eighth, Engel ninth, Matthew George 10th, Downham 11th, and Dalton Tucker 12th. So right there's your 12 chase guys, already not really putting it, in stone, obviously, because it's just Daytona and it's race one. But I mean, if you're the field and Ethan leaves just Daytona with a 15-point lead already, you should know you're in for a long season.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And seeing so many of these championship drivers up there at the end and stuff, it's like, they did what they had to do, and definitely makes for a long season for some of these other guys that are kind of outside looking in. But one thing that I'm definitely happy about is Briscoe being up there, and he had a hell of a race. Josh Stearman helped him out a lot. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, oh no, Brian Niels was in that. Yeah, I was thinking about computer issues from this week, but I remember Brian was up there doing pretty decent, but he got taken out in a pretty early on wreck. But for those championship guys, it's for those that are outside looking in right now, like especially guys that didn't have a great race like Brian. Unfortunately for Craig, being injured right now, which thankfully he'll be back next week. He's in a pretty big hole right now. He's got a lot of points he's got to make up. And for all these other guys that that did pick up a few stage points as well as finish real well in the race, props to you guys. Because, you definitely set the standard for where a lot of these guys have got to go.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch for sure. Obviously, we'll touch on this past week here in a little bit, but we'll kind of keep moving. So we're not, like I said, so we're not ranting. But I was not here for the Cup race. I heard it was a little controversial at some times. I did watch the broadcast.
Oh, yes, I would agree with that.
I did watch the broadcast back. Looked like it was a good race. Kind of like I won't touch too much on it, but kind of like last night. Battles all through the field, never really calming down. But obviously it's being Daytona too. But um, I'll just do standings real quick. Just like I said, obviously I wasn't there, but all said and done, you had Thomas Gould, your B champion, moving up the Cup, leaving Daytona up by 1 point over new rookie Alex Cummings. Your guy Stearman third, Justin Bland fourth, Scotty Brown fifth, Jordan Mackey, another new rookie, sixth, BP seventh, Bellum eighth, Roy Crump ninth, Nate DeFay at 10th, Jeremy Chambers 11th, KT McCannell 12th, Adam Pettit 13th, Joey Stats 14th, Bruce Ackerman 15th, and Adam Tevis 16th. So we had 21 title guys take the green for Daytona. There's your top 16, obviously your chase guys, but I'll kind of let you give a little recap real quick.
Oh, man, that race did not go the way I wanted it to go for me. Me and my guys had a good strategy going. Apparently, everybody had the same damn strategy as well, because coming around turn two, a lot of people, you can just see almost half the field just dart below the yellow lines to drop to the back. And that really screwed with our strategy, because we kind of just wanted to hang out in the back, but yet not too far. So kind of in the middle there, because I know there are a lot of guys, when they say they just want to drop to the back, like they want to drop to the back. But us, we just wanted to just kind of hang out in the middle a little bit. Not too far back, but not too close. And just seeing everybody jump below the lines like that really shit on our strategy. Because it was like watching a space battle with like starships flying everywhere and you don't know where the hell's going on. Like there was just cars darting and dodging everywhere, and just looking out the windshield, like I couldn't really do anything. I just kept going straight. I said, screw it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm bailing on our strategy right now. I'm just going. And that's what I did. And then eventually, after things calmed down after a little bit, it took about 2-3 laps for guys to really kind of get situated to where they wanted to be. And then I eventually got caught up with the rest of my teammates, as well as BP. We're kind of doing our thing, just kind of waiting. And then first green flag stops in the stage. We were all going to pit together. We had everything everything planned out perfectly. But of course, it's Daytona. Never happens that way. And I remember coming around turn 4. Next thing you know, everybody darts to the inside to start pitting. And then I had already committed to go inside. I got a couple of my teammates yelling, abort, abort, abort. We're not doing it. Next time by, I had already committed. I'm already down. I'm already slowing down. Next thing you know, I look in my rearview mirror, and I have a mirror full of number 21 car. My own teammate smacks me in the ass. I shoot up. hit the 5 car, spin him around in the pits, and then I shoot up into the middle of the racetrack and then get T-boned.
Yeah, that was it. It was briefly shown on the broadcast, um, but yeah, you could definitely see it got interesting for you there as you guys came into pit.
Oh my god, like like I was pretty pissed when I saw that I got taken out. And, it sucked a little bit more seeing that my own teammate took me out. And, Josh Dayren peeks in and says that would have been me. Well, at least Brian can have a little one up on you there and saying that he took me out before you did. But, Brian and I have talked. I mean, we're teammates. We talk all the time. I told him, at the moment, I was extremely pissed at him. Like, very, very pissed. Just because it's like, dude, you took me out, man. You took out your team owner. But at the same time, it's like, dude, it's fucking Daytona. You're gonna be very pissed off just because it's the first race of the year. It's Daytona. Tensions are already high, and then when something like that happens, especially that early on in the race, it's like, I hate my life.
Well, I think you summed up the best. It's Daytona.
It's all you can say about it. I mean, it's like Step Brothers and the Catalina wine mixer. It's fucking Daytona. What are you gonna do? You love it, but you hate it. And I mean, from what I remember seeing, actually, I guess I'm kind of glad that happened to me because I mean, regardless, I did go back out there after some repairs and try to pick up some more spots and ended up getting caught up in another wreck. Actually, it was a one that an Adam Tevez wreck. He dropped below the yellow line, wanted to come back, came back on the racing surface a little too late, got squirrely, took out a few cars, and for some reason why I didn't see what was going on in front of me. And then I don't know who I hit, but I hit them hard going about 110 miles an hour trying to slow down, and that ended my race too. So uh, after that happened, no idea what happened. I think my internet service kind of did a reset because my internet stopped. My iRacing completely shut down, and everything just went to hell afterwards. And I felt bad for Chad Angle after that. Chad, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I was completely wanting to help you admin that race because I know it was complete hell for you to admin Daytona all by yourself. That had to have sucked, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for that. I really wish I could have admin for that, but I have no idea what the hell happened to my internet after that.
Tyler said he was the one who gave the T-bone nowhere to go.
Yeah, that definitely hurt. I mean, it gave me about 10 minutes of repairs, so I was quite a few laps down after that. But, you know, no hard feelings for Hargrove because, hell, I was right down going into the pit road, and next thing you know, my nose is up against the wall, and he's T-boning me. Nothing he can do on that one.
Well, like I said, I did points. So at that point, we all leave Daytona, we go to Vegas. Me personally, I'm not a fan of Vegas. Never have been. Probably never will, even after I would say decent week, but I kind of got screwed both nights that I ran. But needless to say, one guy that ran Daytona, I put in the write up. He had an unknown mechanical failure. That's just what we'll call it. But had his mechanical failure, pulled off, had to leave. Whatever. I don't ask questions, but I think he was like 20th in points or something leaving Daytona. Comes into Vegas, and it felt like an Ethan 2.0. It grabbed the pole. He had a 30.809, and then Mark Arthur was second with a 30.813. And he didn't lead all the laps like Ethan. I think Susie got up there and kind of battled a little bit. Um, but he got back out in front, won both stages again, ended up winning the race. So, a perfect night, 61 points. Yes, Randy, I know I screwed myself. I'm just saying, as a general, like, headline, I screwed myself and got screwed. Um, but Richard Reagan, it, like I said, like 20th in points, I think, came into there, and it's like I said, Ethan 2.0. He just seemed unbeatable almost. Like I said, I know Hargrove was actually keeping up with him a little bit, I think, in the second stage, and then I believe in the last stage as well. But it seems like you can get to him, but just couldn't make the pass, and it was just, I want to say, fun to watch because I know early on I was like third or fourth, I think, but man, it's tough.
Oh yeah, and to me that was the surprise of the night. Because I mean, I knew Reagan was fast, but my God, like watching him run like that, and watching Kyle Busch prior to that do the same thing at Vegas, it was like watching a replay. It's just like holy shit, dude. Like I don't think anybody's gonna even beat this guy, and I've seen so many guys get up there and mix it up with him, but it just looked like he was just toying with him. And I know damn well that's not what was happening. I mean, hell, it might have been. I don't know, but just admitting that race and just watching truck after truck get up there and kind of mix it up with him a little bit, and then he just drives away again. It's like, dude, I swear to God, I think this guy's just fucking with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the fast lap during the race, if you go off just that as far as speed wise, Hargrove actually had the fastest lap, 30.757. But it, yeah, I mean, he led 97 laps, 134 lap race. He led 97. Um, the next highest was actually Bruce with 17, and then Susie with 10. But it actually Tyler just said it perfectly. He's very precise, hits the marks lap after lap. Perfect on and off pit road, and just very hard to beat. And it's like I said, it's literally an Ethan 2.0. If you
Yep.
watched the B race, he saved his right front. He smooth on the wheel, smooth on his throttle and brake inputs. He hit pit road when he had to. I don't really think he was in traffic, but when he was, he managed it well and ultimately, led to a dominating performance. But that's what it takes, though. I mean, granted, he might have a lot of seat time in trucks. He might, be experienced and whatnot over some other guys, but that's the main thing is just being precise and consistent.
Oh yeah, and that's definitely 100%. Oh shit. Sorry, baby just knocked some stuff down on the computer.
Hmm.
But that's definitely 100% true. Just watching every little thing that he did, like I I don't even think he had a bad pit stop all night, and didn't really worry, didn't really seem to spin the tires at all. Didn't really. I saw him make a couple mistakes, but he really made up for it immediately afterwards. And it's like, again, like God, like Tyler said, I mean, dude was just precise. That was spot on driving from that.
Martin says Randy is here. Well, actually, I talked to Randy too. I think it was Wednesday night. He didn't expect to actually get up to fourth where he finished. He was kind of riding, and just it kind of worked out that way. But like he's talking about stage points again. Obviously Richard won. Mark Arthur was second. Susie third. I was fourth. Teammates for the night, Bruce and Christian, 5th and 6th, going for owner's points. Hargrove, 7th. Shiflett, your guy, 8th again. Martin Plute, 9th, and Brian Jones, 10th. And then, again, stage 2, Richard, obviously the win. Hargrove, this is kind of when he started showing his cards, got up to 2nd. Plute, 3rd. Shiflett, 4th. Brian Jones, 5th. Blade Timmons got his first stage points of the night. He was 6th. Randy, 7th. I was 8th. Mayu 9th and Davey Hendricks 10th. So again, kind of like I said about Daytona, you have guys going for owner's points, kind of getting in here and mixing up with championship guys and keeping them from getting stage points. First stage, like I said, you have Bruce and Christian kind of right in the middle, 5th and 6th, but stage 2, once again, all truck championship guys, getting stage points. Then actually looking at the totals too, like I was saying with Richard, he had obviously the 20 points on the night. Hargrove 2nd with 13, and then it was a three-way tie between myself, Shiflett, and Plute with 10. So I mean, not much you can do at that point when a guy, basically doubles your stage points. But
Right. And the thing there too is like, again, Nathan Shiflett had another hell of a night all the way up to stage 3 and was looking really good, pretty strong, kind of seemed fantastic. Looked like everything was just gold for him until stage 3 happened. And then things didn't really happen out that way for him, and it sucks for it. Like, I feel for him on that, but it's stage racing, and with picking up stage points and everything like that, it's like like we've already talked about before. That's kind of like the whole playing with fire thing. Like, do you just want to kind of stay out of trouble a little bit and hopefully get a really good finish, or do you want to kind of mix it up a little bit more and pick up stage points and hope that you finish up there again?
not to change the subject, but how do you spell irks?
I have no idea.
Sorry, it was way off topic, but I was writing something and I wanted to put irks and I couldn't figure out how to spell it. But
I don't know. I've never had to spell it.
but yeah, I mean, like I said, the longer races too, obviously with the stages help somewhat. I feel like you have to be like Tyler kind of said about Richard earlier. You almost have to be consistent and have to be precise. I'm not saying, it might be right, Tyler, I don't know. I'm not saying you have to be, every lap because, again, on the other hand, it's longer races, so if you do make a mistake, you have time to come back. Like, for example, last night I sped coming to the green flag pit stops. I had a 45-second hold. I was 2 laps down. Came out of pit road, got the wave around because the caution came out like right after I came back on the track. And then the stage caution, I actually had the lucky dog, so I was right back on the lead lap anyway. But, you can almost make the mistakes and then you still have, depending on when you make the mistake, you still have time to kind of recover from it.
Right, and I've noticed that there was quite a few guys up there that were kind of bouncing back and forth the whole night. They up there early on, kind of fell back. May have had a few mistakes here and there, kind of worked their way back up front. But I guess it's just hard to say like what a lot of these guys are thinking here, because I know everybody wants to have a perfect night. Everybody wants to go win the pole, pick up a bonus point for leading a lap, win both stages, and then win the race, because ideally that's what everybody wants, but obviously that can't happen. And it's just difficult to truly gauge what a lot of people are trying to do here, because especially at a track like Vegas, because 95 to 99% of the race, you're just flat footing it the whole way around. And I remember hearing a lot of guys talk about how damn difficult it is to pass because it's really frustrating because you're flat footing it the whole way around the track, kind of like Daytona. But unlike Daytona, you can't pass anybody because at least at Daytona you can get a good run and then kind of work your way around them some way. But at Vegas, it's like you get just a little bit close enough, and then you get the hard arrow push, and it kills you so bad. And with so much strategy working there, you really have to be perfect all night long to actually come away with very good results there.
Yeah, like I said, arrow push is it's tough. I know just running the cup race last night too. Um, I was actually running the middle in 3 and 4, just like you can kind of keep the momentum and the RPMs up. And we came up behind Roy, and he was running the Larson line up on the wall, and I wasn't even like directly behind him, but just the air, I guess the way it came off of his car and touched the front of mine, it pushed way worse than it had, all practice and obviously the race. And I actually had to back out of it and like wait for the nose to plane again and turn. But it's it can mess with you, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember that a lot in the Cup race as well. Because I'd have some real good runs going, feel really nice, and then next thing you know, I come up behind about 2, 3 cars, and then car just wants to shoot straight up to the wall, and that's never a good feeling when you're used to running a certain way, and then suddenly you can't do that again.
It was rough, and like you just said too, a couple times last night it got a little sketchy. But we talked about stage points already, the totals and whatnot for the truck race. So now you move forward to the finish. Obviously, just put the picture on the stream for the people watching. But Richard Reagan, obviously, like I said, perfect night, 2 stage wins, lap led, and the race win, 61 points. Brian Jones, one of our new rookies, hasn't run with us before, 2 races in, a strong run in my opinion. Finished second, obviously ran up front most of the night. Hargrove third, obviously ran a little bit at the end of the last year, but still considered a rookie, so he's hoping to drop that and put his name in the record books. Randy McCaney fourth, again another one of our new rookies, and then Brian Powell fifth. Not a rookie, but going for owners points, so not really. I guess it matters because I guess like we've talked about the main point of owners points guys are just kind of taking points from championship guys, but Plute sixth, Bruce another owners points guy seventh, Mayu eighth, which is actually his first truck race this season. He missed Daytona. Davey Hendricks ninth, again his first truck race. He missed Daytona, and then Torrin Shirts 10th. So 2 owners points guys in the top 10, but again, like I said, you're 8 out of the top 10 championship guys, and even going to 20th. There's only 3 owners points guys in the top 20, so you got 17 championship guys all right there, 1 or 2 points apart.
Yeah, and the thing with Vegas is like there didn't really quite seem like there were very many owners points guys that wanted to run trucks at Vegas, but they definitely tried to kind of flex their muscles a little bit early on. But I think in the end, the championship guys kind of got tired of being pushed around a little bit.
I think part of it too, it just obviously we're not NASCAR, so we're not forcing people to start in trucks and do whatever, but we kind of prefer it that way. Um, that's why I'm still down here, but we put the cap on B series guys and Cup guys from coming down. So I think some guys, um, I think Roy was one of them. I don't think Roy ran the truck race, but he did run the B and obviously the Cup, I believe. But I think guys are kind of looking at that and not wanting to use all their starts up. Like I think so far, looking at just the points, Brian and Christian are the only guys that have used all their or 2 starts so far, I think. Yeah, so Brian and Christian have started, every race for owners points, and then obviously Bruce, Roy, and Joey Stats have one. But it's everybody wants the race, but it could just be a simple fact of well, I'm better at this track than I am Vegas, so I'm not going to use one of my starts already.
Right, and I think that's the thing too. I completely agree with you there. But I'm also kind of surprised a little bit with it as well, because I mean, with Vegas being a cookie cutter, there are so many guys that are good at cookie cutters and stuff like that, and you'd kind of figure that they'd much rather use up a a start at a Vegas as opposed to a Martinsville or like a Michigan, or use one up at Atlanta or even Auto Club later on down the road or anywhere else. But then again, there are so many guys that are so much better at like Martinsville or even a road course or like anywhere else, period. Or even when you guys go to Iowa. I mean, hell, I might want to run Iowa. Gotta go to my home track. But regardless, it's like with being limited to how many starts you get. I do agree with you there. It most likely was the case there, and I'm still kind of surprised with it just because Vegas is a very fun track to drive, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm 50-50 on it. It during the races it treated me well, and it's like when it came down to, you know, money time and no mistakes, the mistakes happened and stuff happened and prevented me from doing better. But considering I finished both races, can't really complain. But again, moving forward, obviously we did the finish and whatnot. Look at points. Points are out up on stream now for guys watching, girls watching, whoever. But I said it before. Richard came in 20th in points because of Daytona. 61 point night, perfect points night, gains him 18 spots. 18.
Damn.
Most spots gained out of everybody. Goes from 20th in points to technically leading the playoff standings because he has the win, but points wise, tied for second in points. And yes, Randy, that's because you don't have any stage points. You don't have bonus points. But Hargrove gained 4, so he's actually the leader, 5 over Brian Jones and Richard. Randy lost 3 spots. He goes to 4th. Mark Arthur also loses 4 points, falls to 5th. I'm 6th. Martin Plouffe gains 8 to go to 7th. Torin holds 8th. Blade actually tied with Torin, gained 4 spots to 8th. And then Keegan Bitzer lost 7 spots because he was in one of the wrecks, but hangs on to the last chase spot. Knowing that, and again, I got our chase grids in front of us. You're not slow, Randy. I have our chase grids that we made in front of us again, and this actually is worse for you now because I believe, actually, we're the same percentage now. But after Daytona, I had Burchett and myself and Hargrove in, so I was 75%. You had myself and Burchett, so you were 50. After Vegas, I guess just the way stage points worked out and all that stuff, Burchett actually drops 2 spots and is right now actually tied with Nathan, 4 points out of the final spot. Susie also losing 2 spots. He is 8 behind Keegan in 13th. So right there, just off the bat, Susie, our champions that we picked, not in. Burchett drops out. Davey, like I said, it was his first race. He's actually 22nd, but obviously a full race behind, but still obviously plenty of time. And then Hargrove obviously leading. So I'm sitting at 25%, and then you obviously have Burchett, who I said is out, myself, who's in, Susie, and then Coy, who, like I said before, is busy with work, so hasn't been running. But so right now we're down to 25% as far as correct picks for our final 4. I know it's early, but are you? I know I asked before. Are you surprised with the way the points are looking right now?
A little bit, yes. I mean, I honestly thought we'd see Burchett and Susie up there more, but it's race 2. There's a lot of championship drivers in the past that have had really poor, first third or quarter of the seasons, and then it just takes one race for somebody to just really click. And I feel like with later on, that's what we could see with Susie and Burchett. But at the same time, like we've said so many times before, with this truck series being so competitive, I mean, being in this hole right now could be pretty critical right now as well. And, it could potentially hurt trying to catch up. But then again, for a Susie or a Burchett or a Shiflet, all they need is a win. It's literally all it is. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, but with the way that these guys have been shown that they've been running so far in the first two races, like, it's coming. I know it is for all three of these guys. I mean, Shiflet ran very damn well at Vegas. Very well. Ran top 5 a lot of the race. And Susie, I've seen him race a lot with you guys. I know exactly what he's capable of. And Burchett, same here. I mean, I know exactly what all three of these guys are capable of, and I know it's coming. So, looking at the point standings right now and compared to what we were thinking, yes, I'm surprised, but at the same time, I'm not too surprised.
You're surprised, but you're not worried, for say. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I mean, I guess I could go with that. I mean, especially with you know, with my driver being outside looking in. Yeah, 2 races in on the shortest schedule of the series. Yeah, it's kind of worrisome, but at the same time, it's like you still got 20 some more races to go. That's 20 some more opportunities to get in victory lane and just lock himself into the chase. However, we could have 12 different winners this year. So, I mean, I honestly don't think we're
yeah.
going to, but I mean, hell, with all of these drivers that I'm seeing, like, you still don't have a win yet. Susie, he don't have a win yet. Burchett don't have a win yet. Shiflet don't have a win yet. That's what five guys right there that don't have wins that I know damn well are gonna walk or that later this season are gonna have a win. So that's what 7 different winners already.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it one hand, because of the competition, well, you might not have multiple winners, whatever. But at the same time, too, this is online. Obviously, work stuff like that comes into play. We could show up one night over the summer or whatever, and Richard and Joe and Susie and all the quote unquote big guys might not show up. You might have somebody sneak one in, like Keegan or um, Jake or anybody, that desperately needs that win to propel themselves in, could pull it off and get it. Um, I think, just for the time being, kind of like you said, there isn't 20 races. I think there's about maybe 20 or just under left for the trucks. They run such a short schedule, but I think it's just you got to kind of keep your head down and just try and finish the best you can. Even if I've tried telling my guys and even Keegan and a couple other guys to talk to, it is a long season, yes, but you also want to maximize every time you're on the track, the points you can get. Even if you wreck and it's lap one, you got a pop motor. Every race is over 100 and some laps. You're gonna be able to get that engine swapped on pit road. You're gonna be able to come out and kind of pace around a little bit and not lose as many more laps because you never know. You might wreck on lap one, but another guy might wreck on lap 50 and quit. That's another spot right there, another point. And the example I use all the time is looking back at last season. Keegan missed the chase at Bristol, the cutoff race, by 1 point. Granted, he missed about a month of racing, but that 1 point is a race where he might have wrecked early and left and not hung out to get his damage fixed, or something as simple as that, to where he could have stayed in the room, got his damage fixed. Boom, that's a spot. You're tied, and then it'll go to best finish. But just something as little as that. And Randy, I agree. I think Pluto will get in there. I think he'll be
Oh yeah,
a mid to high seed, to be honest with you.
yeah, I completely agree with that too. I mean, With everything that you said about trying to maximize every single opportunity that you've got while you're on track, I mean, that's what Nathan and I have talked about every single week as well. Is like he's doing so well being up there all race long, being so damn well. He's always up there, top 10, top 5 so far in the two races that we've seen him in. And something has screwed him, and he's just been at the wrong place at the wrong time and not been able to capitalize on finishing where he could have. And I understand that's not his fault. And the two of us have talked, and he talks about how he's so sorry, he fucked up, blah 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 blah, and it's like, dude, it's just luck. One of these times your luck's gonna change, and you're gonna go out there guns blazing, and you're gonna be out there, like how Ethan Lane was at uh, Daytona, or even Reagan at Vegas. Like one of these races, that's gonna happen for any of these guys. I mean, Martin, I completely agree with you on that one as well. I mean, he's going to be up there. I think he's going to be a definite challenger for the championship. And, that's why I think, like you said, trying to capitalize so much on all these points, like, just thinking about it, like, we're probably going to have more than 10 winners in the trucks this year. More than likely. Because there's so many guys that are so good. And all you guys were up there kind of battling it out the entire third stage, and it's like something's gotta give, and the only give is going to be capitalizing on all of your points.
Oh yeah, and even Roy in chat, he talking about maximizing points. That's me, nickel and dime. Yeah, and that's how Roy got the nickname. You know, last night, a perfect example. I think he had the pop up again. He said on his monitor because he runs VR and it messes with his wheel and he got in a wreck and had damage, but he stuck around, stayed out, got most of the damage fixed. It didn't look like he got all of it fixed, but he might have. And just plugged away laps. Plugged away so he wouldn't lose more laps. And if guys
Yep.
wrecked and left, he gained the spots. And that's point racing. That's what I call it. You're point racing. Every point matters. Every you know stage points down the line, probably yes, but every point is going to matter. And he just said it again. It's risk versus reward. That's you know you gotta you gotta know when to push and when not, as far as early in the race or late in the race or something like that. But like I said, I've been trying to tell guys, it's unless you think you can definitely lock a win and points don't really matter for you, then albeit if you wreck, go ahead and leave. But even myself, like I know you said, I'll have a win. Randy has said before, I'll grab a win in trucks, but I don't believe that I will. So like even if I wreck, granted I'm adamant, so I would stay anyway. But if I pop the motor 20 laps in or whatever, I'm gonna stay around trying to get it fixed and log some laps. Just like I said, so I can get every point because I don't want to be in the situation like Keegan was, where that 1 point is gonna keep me from racing for a championship.
Right, and I think that's what my problem was at Daytona too, because like when I got caught up in that second wreck, I mean my car was smoking like crazy, and I got the big old meatball, and I mean I had at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour of damage I had to fix. I mean, my car was totaled. There was nothing I could have done. I mean, I hit somebody going 110 miles an hour and then slid through the infield and then hit the inside wall, like nose first. I was screwed either way. But points wise, yeah, I probably should have just waited it out and, tried to get as much fixed as I could so I could get out there and hopefully gain like maybe one or two more positions, but I don't even know if I would have been able to get over 150 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody has a preference. Obviously for in your case anyway, the hour, that's a little different. But normally, if you pop a motor, depending on what else you have, it's normally about a half hour. So I mean, like I said, people, have different, agendas and whatnot. They want to stay around, they don't, whatever. I don't judge regardless. But like I said, I'm just trying to help and be the friendly guy that I am. I tell them, it might be a long season, but if you're like me and don't have that confidence to where, four other guys you race with, oh no, you're good enough to get a win, and I'm sitting here like, I don't think so. This guy's way faster than me. See, it's just like I just keep saying, every point matters.
Right, and like I talked about with Robbie over in his podcast last week, it's like, that's like the thing with you though, is like, I know you're not, like you say, you're not confident enough to, give yourself a little bit more credit, but it's like, I know the rest of us, we see it. Like, we see that you're always up there contending for a win, and all it takes is like a little screw up here and there for somebody to, screw themselves out of a win, and then you swoop in and steal the checkers. Or you do have a night to where, you're like Reagan, to where it's just like, dude, I don't know what the hell this guy's gotten, or what's gotten into this guy. Like, we just can't get around him. And, it's, that's why I say, like, I know for sure you're going to end up walking away with a win sometime this season. It's bound to happen. It's the same thing with Susie and Martin and a few other guys. Like, like we've been talking about, like, it's all about capitalizing on your points too. Because like, if we do end up having more than 10 winners this year, then just having one win is not going to be enough to get you into the chase. You're going to have to fall back on better finishes than this guy, or more stage points than that guy. You're going to have to fall back on points, period. Because yes, wins do matter a lot, but the points are going to be what's going to be making or breaking your season. Because just getting a win might not ensure that you make the chase in the Truck Series, period.
Well, that's like Roy just said. He agrees. He's not worried about himself. And then Randy right before that goes, I'm not safe. Too many good guys to feel good about a single win. If you get multiple, I think you can breathe easy. But if you're not gonna have, if not, you're gonna have to point your way in with the Truck Series. And like I said, I agree 100% with that. I think a couple of the new rookies we brought in, Mark, Richard, Brian Jones, even Martin, and actually even Nathan too. That right there is what, 5 or 6 guys? That's half your chase grid right there.
Oh god, yeah. And hell, like where I was just talking about earlier about being through Vegas and guys that don't have a win yet. It's like, for sure, like you and Martin and Nathan and Susie, and accompanied with the 2 guys that already do have a win. That's what, 6, 7, 8 guys that I'm just going to say will have a win by the end of the season already. That's just 6, 7, or 8 guys right there. And that's, only, 6, 7, or 8 races. You throw another 20 races in there, hell, we could have another 10 guys that win a race. Who the hell knows? Because you can never count out what could happen at any plate tracks, period. You never know what's gonna happen at a plate track. And for all we know, when you go back to Daytona and stuff like that, you never do know if one of these guys that already has a win, might end up getting swept away in the big one, and then next thing you know, somebody that's down in the bottom in points squeaks in for the win. Well, then he goes from the bottom, and now he's in the chase. Well, that shuffles everything big time.
Oh yeah, it's I pulled up the schedule, 2 races in, so we got 14. Actually, yeah, 14. So 14 races left until the chase, but looking, it's more so mile and a half. Obviously we're off, but then we go to Atlanta, Homestead. Hopefully by this point we'd have the new repave of Texas available for us. So that'll be interesting. But even besides that, we have Richmond, and like I said again, Dover, Charlotte, Kansas, Texas, Iowa, Chicago, like more so, just mile and a halfs. But I mean, Eldora's in the regular season still, so I mean, there's chances, and even I'll say Richmond, really, the first short track. I mean, Iowa technically yes, but that's after Richmond. But the first short track, and kind of like you said, if guys like Richard and we'll just say Mark Arthur get battling, and again, it is online. You might have some netcode or something. They netcode together and wreck, and they're blown. There's two top contenders out. If we'll just say Susie and Burchett get together, that's two more. Like you said, anybody could swoop in and grab one.
Oh yeah, and it happens. I mean, hell, I mean, I know it was a plate track and uh, it was real life NASCAR. Like shit, look at last year. My boy Spencer Boyd, he got his first win. Like when that happened, nobody expected it. Like technically he didn't win, but he did because a rule was broken. That could even happen. I mean, next time you go to Daytona, you could have somebody that feels like they got pushed below the double yellow line. Admin sees it otherwise. Bang. That guy gets DQ'd. Somebody that finished second wasn't in the chase now gets to win. He's got his first win of the season. There we go. I mean, there's so many different things that could happen, and I think especially with the way things have played out right now for the truck season or for the truck series, like we already agreed. I mean, I think this series is going to be the most fun to watch for the rest of the season because things have already been thrown way out of whack from what a lot of people had already expected to happen. And now with even fewer races left and so many kind of, you could say, heavy hitters that don't have a win yet are outside looking in, and even guys that are inside looking out like at least having one win is going to be so huge, as well as, kind of nickel and diming your way in, as, Roy and them and you say, because you're going to need that win. And then you're going to need to nickel and dime away with points because, I don't think one win is going to make you safe. I'd say at least two wins, without a doubt.
Just realized my mic was muted. Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. I know we have somebody waiting. We'll see if he's actually here. I know he's been waiting for a while, but let's see.
User was moved to your channel.
Tyler.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
I was worried you were, gonna be falling asleep or something waiting that long.
We barely hung on.
I hear you, man. Well, let's see. Daytona. I'm falling behind. I had it pulled up and I lost track of it. Daytona, you were ninth, and you pulled a third Monday night at Vegas. Obviously, stage points mixed in. It propels you to the point lead, man. I understand it's two races in, but I mean, how's your season been going so far? Obviously, besides the finishes.
Yeah, we honestly didn't expect to be a point lead right now, but at Daytona we just kind of went in with a mindset of just finishing anywhere would be fine, just finishing the race, completing all the laps. But we sat in the back the first stage, and then I thought, well, the second stage, let me see how long, how many laps, or how tough will it be to get to the front. And with a couple laps to go on the stage, I mean, we were right there battling for the stage win with my teammate, so that was a great thing to get him a stage win. He'll play off point. Hopefully, he can make it in. And I mean, like I said, just survived Daytona was amazing in itself.
I know
And then,
it was crazy
go
to
ahead.
even drive in.
Do what?
It was crazy to even race in because I know we kind of changed the strategy a little bit for second stage too. We weren't as aggressive as you and Dustin as far as being up front, but we were kind of hanging on the back of the pack. I know it was crazy to watch from there. I couldn't imagine being up front, being a part of it.
No, I just the talent level in the trucks is so ridiculous. So I thought, man, let's just try to get stage points now, because I mean we might not have a chance for the rest of the season to even get anything. So might be our best shot at it. I mean, we might be like a little underfunded team. We're flying below the radar for sure. Nobody has us on the map, and I like that. So, but now we kind of got a little arrow on our back, but we'll take it. Like I said, we still got 2 winners below me with points, and I see on the schedule here, I think I got 2 races that I can for sure do very well in to help my points at the end of the season. So that looks great.
I'm gonna take a guess and say one of your circled is Eldora.
Oh yeah, we could have darted that one day one.
I saw that one coming.
But Vegas, man, took me by storm. I can't stand that track, hate it, and it's like y'all was talking about earlier. So hard to pass, man. Everybody's just flat out, just kind of lay where you fall. But I kind of go into qualifying probably a little bit different than most people do. I know a lot of people want to set a burner and sit up front and everything, but I tend to fall off towards the end of runs more so than everybody else does. So basically, what I do is I just try to go out there and run how I'm going to run like the first 3 to 5 laps in the feature. So that way, I'm not going to be getting ran over going into turn 3 on the first lap.
It's actually a good way to think about it. I've actually never heard somebody look at it that way, but now that you kind of explained it and put it that way, it's not a terrible way to look at it, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of hot lap heroes. I mean, I'm not saying this. The guys that qualify up front are, because I mean, obviously, like you talked about, Burchett and all them guys are stupid fast and deserve to be up there, and they stay up there the whole race. So it's just, but to me, it's just a battle of attrition. We just want to finish with the top 10 on the death, get points, so we can be there to chase when it comes.
Yeah, and it's actually good you brought up, the competition in the trucks, because Randy, like we kind of touched on too, was saying you're going to need multiple wins, to be kind of comfortable and kind of be in the chase. Do you think it's going to take the same thing too? Maybe not necessarily one win, but you might need 2 or 3 to even make the chase.
I think it's a very good possibility, but when I look at the schedule, like I said, there's a bunch of cookie cutters, and I think you'll have a couple repeat winners for sure. Like when we go to Homestead, Kansas, Texas, Chicago, I think you'll definitely have to plug into the 2 or 3, 4 winner club there. But we also have the short tracks, or the weird funky track, Pocono, Eldora, Kentucky. I think you're going to see some new guys. Dover, I think you're definitely going to see a new guy win there, just because that's a tough track and you're going to have to survive as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, with Dover being so small and tight, but it's so high speed, like I completely agree with you there. I mean, it's gonna be survival there, and very well see somebody that we would not expect to win that track or win that race.
And also with the dash for cash that Kyle Ramsey's putting on, I think you're going to see a lot of guys giving her hell at those 4 tracks.
Oh yeah.
Actually good. That's a good thing you brought that up. I actually had it on my thing to bring up, and I completely forgot before we even got talking about it. But yeah,
Oh god, yeah, me too.
That's a big thing Kyle's done. I put a post out on Facebook about it, and that was his own doing. I mean, he came to me asking, how I felt about, him doing something like that potentially, and it's like I said, he's doing his own points for it. He chose the tracks, he chose the format and stuff like that. So big thanks to Kyle, obviously, for doing all that and stepping up as part of the sponsorship deal. But no, actually, that's a good point too, Tyler. I think not necessarily myself, but some of the guys lower in points and whatnot might push, like you said, a little bit harder to try and do better in those races and maybe grab a little cash at the end of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, to me, it's going to make a long season for some of the guys with 10th through whatever 30th a lot shorter. And now they can circle those 4 and really put the work in there and could surprise themselves and get locked into the chase with 2, 3 wins.
Yeah, Corey, you got anything for him?
First off, just want to tell you, congrats again on your on your win to start off the season on a high note. And I definitely think getting that win so early, I think you might agree a little bit. Well, I agree with you a little bit. It kind of put your target on your back a tiny little bit, but with you saying that, you're trying to just fly under the radar and everything, it's a good strategy to keep, but it's you definitely put your name out there, and with the way that you drove and the way that I've been seeing everything play out so far in these past two races, like it's gonna be a blast seeing you out there, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But we also going to have another wrench I think is going to be thrown into the system here is we got honor points guys that could win every single week. We might not even have chase guys win.
Oh yeah, dude, I didn't even think of that because we got owners points guys that are going to be in there running, and like they're heavy. We've got quite a few heavy hitters running for owners points too that could just, like you said, just shit on everything and take wins away from guys that will absolutely 100% need that extra win to make sure that they're okay in the chase.
Yeah, 100%. And even when the chase gets set, that first three races, oh my gosh, look out, it's gonna be crazy.
Oh, dude, I can't wait, man. Like, just seeing all the beating and banging so far in these first two, it's like the rest of the season is going to be a blast to watch. And with me getting the front seat to every single race, adminning it, dude, I'm just gonna get some popcorn ready for the next race at Atlanta because it's going to be wild.
Hopefully we can make it because my favorite track is November 9th, Championship Monday. I'd love to be there.
Whew, that'll be fun.
All right, guys, I appreciate it.
I'm glad to have you, man.
We'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too, man.
You too.
User was moved out of your channel.
Oh, he left anyway. Well, yeah, but actually, I know you had said Tyler won. He doesn't have a win yet. He's just our points leader still.
Oh, shit. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking.
It's all right. But yeah, doesn't have a win yet, but
it's coming.
I would say if there was a most improved award, for season one total, I would say Brian got it. Brian knew very little about asphalt and kind of was learning as we went. I think over the season he improved. But I would say from the end of last season to so far this season, I would say Tyler would be one of my picks. He's going to be tough to beat. He proved it Monday night. He ran up there, like I said, right with Richard, and was in contention for it. One mistake from Richard on pit road or something, and Tyler was right up there to capitalize on it. So,
right,
he'll be tough to watch.
Oh yeah, and this season, it's going to be a hell of a one to watch in the Truck Series because I think even with all the guys that we've got going in B and in Cup, those are going to be fun to watch too. But without a doubt, we've already agreed on episode 1 that this series is going to be the absolute one to watch because like Tyler said, he's been running well so far. He's the points leader with two guys that have wins below him, and then we also have so many guys out there that don't have a win yet, and we're all but guaranteeing them a win right now. It's like so much is going to happen with so little time.
Oh yeah, it's kind of funny too. We both have talked about the owners points guys already before, and then it comes to Tyler's interview, and then we forgot about him winning and whatnot. And he had a good point. There's, for instance, the B car dominant guy, Ethan. He might have a Monday free one night and come out and want to run trucks, and he could, as Robbie says, take us behind the woodshed and give us an old-fashioned whooping. And that right there, would prevent one of us from winning. So, and even the Cup guys too. Bruce came down and ran Monday night. Christian runs B, he can come run. Dalton, he's got they go to the league on Mondays, but if they're ever free and they decide they want to come down and run, it could throw a wrench in everything. But
Oh yeah.
um, we'll keep moving, like I said, because we don't want to. I know we've been rambling a little bit, but we'll move on. Wednesday night, B Series night in Vegas, under the lights. Not really a second night in a row, but second race night in a row, I'll say. And we kind of touched on it, I believe, in the beginning, talking about it, but if we didn't, we'll do it again. 170 lap race. Ethan Lane, 168 laps led. It's just speechless.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I know what I want to say about that, but Jesus Christ, dude, like it was like deja vu all over again watching Daytona, except it was tenfold. I mean, like I said about like I said about Daytona, like I didn't watch the whole race just because. I mean, you know the reason why for the whole Wednesday thing, but like when I did check in, it's like Ethan Lane, Ethan Lane, Ethan Lane, Ethan Lane, Ethan Lane. It's like holy shit, man. Like my God, I expected Ethan to kind of come out there and put on a show, but not like this.
Oh yeah, and it's what's even crazier too. Just about all that, 170 laps. Technically, 2 cautions, obviously for stages, but besides that, a caution-free race.
Oh yeah, that was definitely the big thing that kind of surprised the hell out of me because I mean, with the way Vegas is, like it's so high speed and the tiniest little mistake can cause some big problems. And I know there were some guys that did have those problems, but yet with no cautions, it's like a caution-free race in real NASCAR is rare. A caution-free race in a sim racing league is even more rare. And it's really great to see just to show the talent that these guys have running with us. And it's like, these guys are good. And just to have a caution-free race is fantastic. So props to you B guys that ran Wednesday. It's a hell of a night.
Oh yeah, which I mean, like I said, and the only time he didn't even lead was green flag pit stops, obviously, because you can't lead every lap unless everybody literally followed you down pit road. But Roy Crump actually led the other 2 laps, but even then, obviously, it cycled through and he grabbed the lead and ended up winning by 10 seconds. But so another perfect points night, 61 points again. But I think a message was sent by Todd Slauson and Josh Thaxton, and even actually Trey James, kind of not as big as the other guys, but stage 1, Ethan obviously the winner, Slauson second, Thaxton third, Ryan Kendrick fourth, Trey was fifth, Corey Wharton sixth, Snyder seventh, Mayu eighth, Susie ninth, and Mark Stryker 10th. So again, story of the night, the owner's points guys, 8th and ninth in this one, so not really taking away too many points, but stage 2, again obviously no cautions, but you go Lane, Thaxton, Slauson, Snyder, Susie 5th, Trey James 6th, Corey Wharton 7th, Ryan Kendrick 8th, Keegan got up to 9th, and then Briscoe got 1 point there in 10th. So again, owner's points guy 5th and 9th, but I started doing like the totals just kind of see like who was kind of making the most of the stage points, I guess you can say. And like I said, a message obviously by Ethan just by dominating, but by Todd and Thaxton, Thaxton ended up finishing 5th in the race, so not really kind of followed it through, but a third in stage 1, second in stage 2, Slauson second in stage 1, third in stage 2. Other than Ethan's 20 stage points, they both had 17. So, like I said, while Ethan, was getting max points, Slauson, for the most part, for stages and then finishing second, he did all he could too, besides leading a lap.
Right, and that's like the wild thing about what's been going on in the base series already, because it's like other than Ethan just dominating, which, Roy chimed in and said we all saw that coming. I mean, he's not wrong, but I honestly didn't see him, basically leading green to checkers the entire way. And seeing some of these other guys, like you're saying, it's like have damn near perfect nights as well right behind that. They're all capitalizing as much as they can on these stages points and finishing points as well. And it's like, they're doing a hell of a job at doing what they got to do for their championship runs.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Thaxton dropped off at the end and finished fifth, but even then, as far as like stage points and whatnot, he did what he needed to do. I mean, that's kind of the thing, guys like Roy said, we all saw it coming, and guys, I'm sure, when he joins, they're like, oh, well, here we go. It's damage control. If he does come out and he's dominant, you got to be the next best or the next, dominant car. You got to be right in his foot. I'll say footsteps, but it's technically tire tracks. But you got to be there. You got to maximize your stage points. Maximize, if you can lead a lap, try and do that. It's like I said, just damage control. Like I said, he might have had max points at 61, but it, like I said, it's just damage control. You got to try and minimize the gains that he does make.
Right, and like you said, I mean, you put it best. Like if Ethan does what is expected and just beats everybody's ass week in and week out, you have to go out there and beat everybody else's ass and essentially win the race, because if Ethan's just going to continue and blow everybody out of the water like everybody expects him to, then essentially the race is for second. You have to win second place.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Essentially, you have to be Matt Kenseth back in, what was it, 2000? Or shit, I can't remember. I think it was 03 maybe, when he won his championship, where Ryan Newman won like 12 races and Kenseth only had one win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to do that. You have to have like 20 plus top fives. You have to have like 30 some top tens. Like, you have to dominate everything else if Ethan's going to continue and get in victory lane. That's what you got to do. And all in all, so far, that's what those guys have done right now. Like, they've capitalized on what they've had to do. Like, like you said, one of them fell back to fifth. Didn't necessarily capitalize on the huge points night by, dropping back to fifth. But still, a top five along with a second and a third in stage points, that's a hell of a points night.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no doubt. It's, I mean, like I said, I got to fit in the top three. Excuse me. I got the top three on screen. And like I said, obviously Ethan. Wow. Ethan, Slauson, and then Trey James actually got third. Snyder got fourth, Thaxton fifth, and then Ryan Kendrick sixth, Dalton Tucker, who no practice, missed driver's meetings, so he had to start from pit road, couldn't qualify, got lapped early because he hit the wall. I think he stayed a lap down at the end of the first stage because he pitted to get damage fixed and stuff. Battled back to finish seventh. Stearman, owner's points for you, eighth. Susie ninth, and Keegan 10th. So 3 owner's points guys to finish the top 10. But, like I said, Slauson really didn't maximize points per se because he didn't lead a lap and he finished third in stage 2. But for what it's worth, he kind of maximized points. But even with that, I'll put up the point standings here. Ethan Lane, 2 races in, 122 points already. He's got a 32-point lead over Trey James.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane to have that big of a point lead already, just 2 races into the season.
And not even just that. He's got 2 wins already, so that alone right there is 10 playoff points. So he's got 10 playoff points plus 4 stage wins, which are 1 playoff point apiece. So he's already sitting at 14 playoff points to go into the chase. Which,
yeah,
14, it's only 14 spots on the track, but it's he's making it tough. It's going to be tougher. But like I said, he's got 32 over Trey. Todd, with his stage points and kind of closing the gap on Trey, he's only 2 behind Trey in third. Thaxton only 1 behind Slauson in fourth. So I mean, right there, second, third, and fourth separated by 3 points. So I mean, the fight's on for that. Snyder's 10 back from Thaxton in fifth. And the big mover in the B Series, Ryan Kendrick. I believe he got caught in a wreck at Daytona, but like we talked about, stayed in, got the damage fixed, ran laps, finished the race, gained 10 spots. He goes from 16th to 6th. So essentially, outside of the playoff picture, granted, again, only race 2, plenty of time to go, but from 16th in the chase, outside the chase, actually, to 6th, and, right in the middle, basically. Briscoe gained 1, he's up to 7th. Corey Wharton also actually gained 7, so he goes from 14th to 7th. Dalton Tucker, our pick for champion, which yours may change because of Ethan, but they're still adding some heavy hitters now. Dalton gains 2 up to 9th. Jamison Miller. In the beginning, we talked about blown tires. He did not blow a tire, but somebody that he was lapping did. They tried getting off the track. They couldn't obviously turn because they blew the right front. Jamison tried to avoid them. Slowed up. I think he said he got tagged in the rear end, spun around, damaged the car. He ended up dropping out DNF. So he loses 5 down to 10th. Chad Engel loses 2 and falls to 11th. And Matthew George loses 1, falls to 12th in a tie with Chad. So, and then Paul Granado, who finished second at Daytona, drops 11 because he missed the race. He's now 13th, first person out. 2 points behind. Mark Stryker, 14th. 3 points behind, sorry. So, the bubble spot, again, like I said, 2 races in, but the bubble spot is heating up already. The battle for second, like I said, 3 points between them, it's heating up. A couple ties are in there. It's might not be the truck series, with 30 guys signed up for a title, but that's what we got so far. There's 18 so far. These 18 guys are, besides obviously the one main, but these guys are putting on a good show.
Oh God, yeah. And with a lot of that has happened and seeing the point standings right now, it's like there's still so much that can happen. And I know, we got Dalton still sitting back there. We got Briscoe sitting back there. I got Snyder sitting in 5th. He's not having a bad season right now. But, I still don't think, he's at his best yet. He's still got a lot better that he can give. But, at this point in time with the way Ethan's been running, it's like your best might not even be close to enough to even knock him off of anything right now. And, but at the same time, you never know. I mean, for all we know, going to championship night, if you're in the Final Four, he might get caught up in some lap traffic and then, or have a slight little mistake, get some damage. And if you make the championship 4, you can still sneak in to steal away the championship. I mean, shit happens. But all in all, like we've talked about, it just depends on capitalizing the most on your points right now. And, I know some of these guys haven't quite done that yet. But, with so much left in the season and seeing all these names on here that haven't necessarily capitalized on all these points that are out there available for them, it can still turn around for them a lot.
Oh yeah, that's the big thing. Like trucks are off for 2 weeks, so our guys are kind of just gonna brew over everything and kind of game plan for Atlanta. But B and Cup are still at it. B's and Cup actually both have Auto Club next week. Then they go to formerly ISM, but Phoenix, and then obviously all 3 are back at Atlanta. But it's still early. Obviously 28 races before the chase. We've obviously run 2, so there's still 26 races before the chase. Anything can happen, but I think we both can kind of agree at this point, even with Ethan dominating, it's still going to be like I said, damage control, kind of maximize your points. Because even, Ethan can run away and, win the regular season, whatever, this and that. But at the same time, you also want to keep your fair distance from that bubble spot.
Oh yeah, because I mean that bubble spot's gonna fluctuate a lot. Because I mean, obviously it's not gonna fluctuate in terms of advancing higher or lower, but that points gap it's definitely gonna fluctuate a lot as the season goes on. Because with only 12 drivers making the chase in the B series. I mean,
Yeah.
Right now with the points and everything, it's like we got Matthew George. That's 3 points to the good right, or 2 points to the good right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that could grow. I mean, I think that's gonna grow during the season, and then it's gonna shrink again a lot. And for all we know, I mean Matthew George could greatly increase his position in the chase standings right now. But with so much going on, it just all comes to collecting your points as you need to. Because with stage points and then finishing well, it's gonna greatly improve your chances at helping your position in the chase. And so many guys here, there's a lot of guys right here that I'm looking at that I know damn well are damn good drivers that are on the outside looking in right now. And it's gonna be wild trying to see these guys fight their way in right now.
Oh yeah, and then looking at the schedule too. Like I said, obviously Auto Club next week, Phoenix, Atlanta, Homestead, and then another thing too. Obviously we're not doing the Dash for Cash for B like they do in real life with the Xfinity series, but we're calling it the Dash for Points. I'm actually gonna look that up real quick just so I don't mess it up. So okay, so what that is, obviously we'll get the 4 eligible drivers. We'll have them do something so they're signified somehow for the broadcast and whatnot. So if the winning driver of the Dash for Cash in real life gets $100,000, so my thing, since obviously like I said I can't do that, make it like I said a Dash for Points. So out of the 4 drivers, the highest finisher for that, 10 bonus points. So essentially a stage win.
Yeah, and that could be huge for anybody that does that. Because I don't want to beat a dead horse because we've been talking about it all night, but 1 point will make or break anything, especially with how tight the points are right now and later on in the season. I mean, for all we know, Paul Granada could be, one of the Dash for Points guys and desperately need those 10 points, and that could easily help his chances at getting into the chase.
Oh yeah, it's like looking at the tracks for it too. Like I said, obviously again, Auto Club, Phoenix, Atlanta, Homestead, race 1, which at that point will be the new Texas because it comes out either next week or the week after because it's the season 2 update and release, and it's basically a month away because the B Texas race is April 1st. So basically, like I said, a month away just about. So again, Texas race 1, Bristol for race 2. Bristol alone is a crapshoot. It's
Oh God, yeah.
Ethan
It's
is still fast there. There's no
right.
He's well versatile. We'll say. He's good anywhere. So, but obviously being Bristol, there could be a wreck right in front of him with guys battling for position, and he could get damage, and obviously he won't be happy about it. But it's racing. The lap cars are still racing too, so you can't just expect them to pull over and stop their race just because you're leading or whatever. But like I said, Bristol, they're off for 2 weeks, then Dega and then Dover to finish it. Those middle 2 races, man, anything can happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got Dover. That's like a slightly bigger Bristol. Bristol, obviously, with it being the short little bull ring, it's like I mean, you're nose to tail so much at that racetrack, and with such tight cornering, and you're going so damn fast. It's like you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, you can go into turn 3, and there will be a wreck in turn 1, and next thing you know, you're getting caught up into somebody else's crap in 4 because the cars in front of them are checking them, but they're trying to slow down because they see what's going on, and you don't.
Oh yeah, it's even just the B series in general, especially with the announcement they made this year about the Indy race moving to the road course. That just adds another road course to what is already, and in my opinion, I love it, a road course heavy schedule. Because you figure,
Oh yeah.
in our time, it'll be June 3rd, which will be that Wednesday, but they'll start at Mid Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, Chicagoland, Pocono. Then July 8th, they go to the Indy road course. Kentucky, New Hampshire, they're off. Iowa, and then back-to-back weeks, Road America, Watkins Glen. So, 4 road courses right there. Granted, it's a little more spaced out this year because I think last year it was like 3 road courses, 4 road courses within a span of like 5 races, but it's a little more spread out this year. But even then, and then even actually to the Roval in the Chase, but that's obviously down the road more. But even then, Mid Ohio, Indy road course. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of practice for that, just because obviously it's new and nobody knows what to expect. But at the same time, Road America, Watkins Glen. Road America is a big track. It takes a long time to get around. The stages are going to be rough there, to be honest with you. But Watkins Glen, it's one of my favorite road courses, besides Sonoma. But even then, it's which I know I talked to you for the preseason race there. You got yourself a little road ringer with Briscoe, but at the same time, Ethan didn't run that. We don't know how good he's going to be. We don't know if any Cup guys are going to come down and run that. We don't know, and by Cup guys I mean because obviously they would run the Glen the next night, but you don't know if they're going to come down and run. You don't know if a truck guy is going to be free and want to come run. It's it's going to be interesting to see how the season unfolds, especially like I said with that main wild card being the Indy Road Course.
Oh God, yeah. And the Indy road course, like, I think that threw everybody for a loop. I mean, even just NASCAR fans in general. Just the announcement that they weren't going to run Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but the road course. Like, yeah, it's same place, but completely different track. And with it being such a tight cornered track, and it's already narrow to begin with, like, my God, there's going to be a lot of people with some banged up bumpers because they're going to have to push people to get them out of their way at that or going around that track.
Yeah, I know. Speaking like the announcement and stuff, I was actually talking to Christian. I think about there might have to be preseason stuff because I don't think we started the season yet. But he had mentioned it, and I was like, no, no way. And sure enough, went on Facebook, and there it was. So we kind of jumped in because obviously, like I said, we don't know what layout they're going to use. They could make a whole new layout for all we know, but we just kind of loaded up one of the preset road course ones, and it's it's not difficult per se, but it's new. So and they obviously they don't have the actual layout yet, so they don't have like brake markers and stuff like that. So you're kind of just making your own brake markers as you go. So it's like, oh, this is sketchy. Like, I don't know when to brake. And it's obviously we didn't have a setup either yet because they haven't released that, which I hope they actually do because that'd be awkward. But it's
Right.
it's gonna be wild for sure.
I mean, especially this season with us and iRacing and everything, because, I mean, hell, they might, like you said, I mean, they might run a completely different layout that they want to run, but iRacing won't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to make it even more difficult for us because we got to figure out what layout we want to run. And then, like you said, you're trying to figure out your own damn braking points because you don't know what's going on. Like, we're not used to running that track because that's Indy. They run it, not NASCAR.
Yeah.
And, I think that's what's so exciting about hearing that real NASCAR is going to run that track. But it's also even more exciting as well, knowing that with us running the real life schedules, we're going to be running that track too. But it's just going to be more interesting the farther along in the season we go on what layout they decide. If they're just going to say, screw it, we're just going to run the original layout, period, or if they're going to try and find something completely different.
Yeah, I know, Steerman. I know if you go on iRacing and go to Indy, they have obviously the IndyCar oval and the regular oval, which to me are the same. I don't get the difference, but then they have the road course and the bike, which I'm guessing is the GP course you're talking about. We tested on the regular road course, but like I said, they never know. They could use the bike version, they could use the regular road course version, they could throw a whole different version in. It's I don't see many possibilities for it, but they could. They could even make us go the right way because I don't know if you've run the road course before, Corey, but you go backwards down the front stretch and kind of go through the infield that way.
Yeah, you run clockwise instead of counterclockwise.
Right. So that's what I mean. You never know. They could make them go the other way, which iRacing would have to update because obviously, we'd be going backwards at that point.
Right, and I think, if iRacing does do that, well, I think if NASCAR does do that, it's going to help iRacing out a shit ton. Because then all they'd have to do is just do the same exact track, but reconfigure the coding to make it run reverse. So I think it could help out a lot with iRacing, which would help us out. Because, same exact track, you're just flipping the coding around a little bit to make the cars run in reverse. So, it could help out, but like you said, we don't know yet. They don't even know yet. So, as the season goes on, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do.
Yeah, I know it'll be fun. That's actually one of those races I'm hoping I don't have to admin, but it's like I said, that's a long way down the road. But looking at the schedule, see what else we got to touch on. Kind of did the point rundown stuff still. I had that scheduled last, but that's fine. I guess the last bit we got, and then we can finish up actually real early. Obviously, last night's race, Cup Series of Vegas. I was in it obviously just for owner's points with my 88 car. You were obviously running for a title in it. I guess I can do results. We'll do stages real quick actually first. This was actually when I sped. That's right. Coming down pit road, made the left, got onto the flat ground off the track, and realized I was going way too hot to slow down. So I kind of just didn't even try making it. Just kind of went in and got my penalty. 45-second hold, by the way. So don't ever try and not spin out and slow down because they will nail you very, very. What's the word I want to use here? Not a dirty word. Intensely with the hold penalty. Like I said, I ended up losing 2 laps because of it. But yeah, so if you think you're gonna come in hot, lock them babies up, slow down as quick as you can, and try and minimize that penalty. Because if I was going for a title, that would have hurt.
Oh yeah, I specifically remember that happening to you, and all we heard on the chatter was you cussing up a storm and at the same time laughing because what the hell are you gonna do, dude?
Yeah, well, it's just one of them things. I called it out, and there was like 3 guys behind me still, and I'm like, I want to get off so I can run over, and I looked down, and it was way closer than I thought it was, and like I said, there's no way I was stopping, but I got a caution. Yeah, I put it on 25 because I cut it in half. My teammates were going to pit on 30, and we actually had a caution on 30, so the lap they were going to pit, and it actually helped, obviously, because it trapped guys a lap down. It took the way around, whatever, and they were leading. But one of my drivers, Joey Stats, got his first stage win of the season. KT McCann second. My other championship driver, Brian Powell, third. Blade Timmons, who was filling in for Outlaw Racing in the 3 last night, got fourth. Trey James fifth. Jordan Mackey, one of our new Cup rookies, in 6th. Martin Plute 7th. Steerman 8th. Tevis 9th. And Scotty Brown 10th. Stage 2 went green, which actually surprised me. I figured we would have had a record on pit stops again, but it went green. Me and Joey kind of worked together again. Had the lead when it cycled through, and I kind of told him at that point it was a 3-car breakaway. It was him, myself, and Trey James. I told him, you just, hold your line. I'll stay behind you. He ain't going to be able to pass you, without nobody being here to push him. Because we were actually, I don't know if you saw it all, but we were running the middle, like when we were in traffic, because you could get the run on the bottom, obviously, and gain time, but if you tried to make a pass, it was nearly impossible unless it was on brand new tires.
Oh yeah, and that race was a blast for me. And I'm just gonna put it out there now, Chad. Sorry about what happened there. I know, you kind of ass-ended me, but it's like my back end stepped out hardcore. I don't know how the hell I saved. I'm not sure what stage it was in. Um, I remember I was in front of Chad Angle and side by side with a 95. He got a hell of a run on my outside. Took the air off my back end. Back end stepped out. I had it saved. Chad slams the hell out of my back end. And I don't know how the hell I saved it. Like, I mean, my car was pointed directly at the outside wall, and I still kept it off the wall, didn't hit anybody else, and kept it going, and we stayed green. And, it was just one of the wild, crazy saves that I had last night. I had a couple of them. I have no idea how the hell I didn't wreck any worse than when Chad hit me. But, I mean, that race last night, like you said, it's like in certain areas of the track, depending on where you are at in traffic, like, it was so difficult.
Oh yeah, I, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. The cup package too. I think Robbie touched on it in the broadcast. It promotes the close racing, which was kind of why I was surprised stage 2 went green, just because in the beginning you're all bunched, and we were, at least I was not lifting for probably over half the run. I'd say almost close to 40 laps, just about. But
Oh, yeah, me, same here.
it was just, it's crazy. I mean, like I said, it's nice in the beginning, and then obviously if people save tires, it'll show late in the run, and you'll kind of get spaced out if you get that far. Excuse me. But like I said, one, you obviously got to get there, but it's so hard too because they just draft so well. Like even if you start to pull away, I was saying it in the chat. Like when I finally got cleared, when I got to the lead in stage 2, I would kind of use my arc and get into the corner. And I think at one point Joey and Trey were battling, and I had gapped them to like 4/10, like half a second. And just on the front stretch alone, like through 3 and 4, we both were on the bottom, and then through the front stretch alone, he drafted right back up to my bumper and gave me a shot going into 1. Like I couldn't believe how quick he closed, that half a second. But it'll be interesting. Obviously, same schedule. Obviously Auto Club, Phoenix coming up. So Auto Club will be, I think, tough to break away and kind of solidify yourself. But like I said, stage 2 went green. Stats, another stage win. Like I said, I kind of pushed into that one. So I was second. Trey James third. Mackey 4th, Blade Timmons 5th, Brian Powell 6th, Martin Plute 7th, Adam Tevez 8th, Steerman 9th, and Adam Pettit 10th. So, not as dominant as Ethan, leading all the laps, but, Joey, 2 stage wins, 2 playoff points, maximized his stage points, 20 points. Brian was second with 13, and Mackey with 12. Those 3 kind of separated themselves a little bit, and they actually ended up finishing 1, 2, 3, but, I know we're probably beating a dead horse at this point, but every point matters, and those 3 just, played the strategy right, played the cards right, and were up front when it mattered.
Oh, yeah. And then, seeing all that battling going on in front of me, I mean, I ran up around the top 10 the entire race. I had a couple issues. There are a few times to where I'd get up there near the top 5, and then actually, hell, that instance where I got slammed by Chad Angle, we were battling up there near 5th when that happened, and then I dropped back down, and then I crawled back up to top 10 again, and then fiance wanted to give me a kiss, good luck, real quick before she went to bed. I took the baby to bed, and then Next thing you know, I'm up in the wall. But, it's like I felt like I had a really good night, but for all these other guys that finish up there in the top 10, for those big points and stuff like that, especially Stearman, I mean, especially with where he finished, I mean, for being my driver, I mean, that's all I could have really asked for is to see what he did, and especially with what the rest of the guys did. I mean, with Steer to kind of keep pace with that, like, I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think stage 3 even only had one caution too, I believe. So, again, green flag stops to end it. But just, I'm looking forward to every series, to be honest with you. I mean, like I said, trucks, we've said it. I've heard a couple other guys say it. I think Randy said it in chat too. It's arguably the best series we have this season, to the point where we'd actually had to close championship entries down. We might be able to open it back up because some guys have dropped and not run or whatever, so it might open 1 or 2 spots. But besides that, the B series with Ethan, obviously, and guys trying to dethrone him. I actually went to ask Tyler. We may have a Kyle Busch bounty situation for Ethan. I forgot to bring that up. I'm not sure if you heard that, but Tyler in the broadcast, we were talking about how quick he was, and whatnot, and then Tyler brought up the thing of actually putting a bounty out there for somebody to show up and beat him. So keep an eye on that. That might be in the works here, maybe even next week.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what Ethan does. I mean, knowing Ethan, he's gonna say challenge accepted and go out there and try to beat everybody's ass again, which, regardless, that's what he's gonna do. Because, I mean, I know damn well he's gonna definitely take that as a big challenge. And it'll be interesting to see if that does play out. It's going to be interesting to see what is put up on the line for that to happen and who actually goes after it.
Well, that was kind of Tyler's thing too, because and he brought up this same thing. I think that was kind of brought up about the Kyle Busch one. And it's like Randy, but no, because Tyler said the same thing. He goes, well, I don't want a green white checker to happen and somebody just go in and completely wreck him, just to say, oh well, I beat him. Which I said the same thing. I was like, yeah, that wouldn't work for me. So we'll see. I know Tyler was serious about it. So it'll be interesting. I think obviously it would help the B car counts, because now, like I said, you'd obviously have Cup guys if they're free coming to run, possibly truck guys coming to run if they're free, possibly. So, but yeah, I think Ethan would take that as kind of like Kyle Busch did. Come on, bring it on, and he would, for all we know, probably go out and lead 190 laps of 195 or 200 or whatever. So, but no, it's almost comical that like it has to come to that, but at the same time too, I think it also shows the caliber that we have.
Oh, without a doubt. And to seeing so many guys, even in the chat here, talking about Ethan and about how everybody expected Ethan to just wipe the floor with everybody. It just goes to show the level of talent that this league has. Because, I mean, these guys are no slouches either. And seeing Randy and Roy and even you and Jake and BP and a couple other guys just talking about how Ethan has just been so dominant. It's like you guys could go out there and put on a hell of a show. Everybody goes out there and puts on a hell of a show. I've seen guys last season like Susie. I've seen him go out there and just whoop some ass.
Mm-hmm.
And for seeing everybody just talk about how Ethan is just so scary fast and so scary dominant. I mean, it definitely plays a mind game of sorts, because because I know some days a lot of guys probably show up and they hope that he doesn't race, just so that way it's like, all right, we finally have a damn chance to win this shit. Hell yeah. But then as soon as they see Ethan Lane has connected, it's like, shit. But I also know there's a lot of guys too that are like, all right, It's our A game time. Got to bring our A game anymore, but now we really gotta amp it up a little bit more. And I think when it comes to where you're talking about the whole bounty situation, the way I see it, I mean, even with what Kevin Harvick said about the real bounty situation, if you're going to beat Kyle Busch, you can't wreck him.
Yeah.
You have to beat him.
Yeah, like I
Period.
said, Tyler and I kind of talked, and he's basically said the same thing. But I think too, just with the way we're doing this season, as far as you have to have a ride and whatnot too. I think, like I said, if a Cup guy sees the chance, if Tyler does fall through with it and puts up a bounty, if a Cup guy sees the chance, in their minds like, oh, this will be an easy, $10 or whatever, and you see all these rides getting filled, it, like I said, obviously it raises the car count too, which with raised car count could come, potential cautions and whatnot, but whatever. But like I said, you could see almost a full field, I would say. If I'm not, on admin, obviously I'll be running. Jake, obviously the same way. Hell, I might put Randy in one of my cars or something if need be. But it's at the same time of trying to, keep Ethan from winning. It's also the mind game as far as team owners trying to get all your cars on the track so you can keep, like, just say Ethan or Todd or somebody from getting maximum points and kind of throwing a curveball into the situation and helping your team guys. Because, like, again, say I put Randy in my open ride for Auto Club and he goes out, and just for an example, because we're talking about my guys, but say Ethan wins and Dalton's second, and then we'll just say Susie's third and Randy's fourth. Well, right there, third and fourth is 200 points, guys, and you're costing the guy that finished fifth, 2 potential points. So it's like, no, steer. If he gets wrecked, it doesn't count. It's got to be straight up. Just because that's our main worry. We don't want to say, oh, well, $20 for somebody to beat him, and then a championship guy or whoever goes in, and not necessarily saying on purpose, but goes in and he gets wrecked, and then you're like, oh, well, I beat him. Where's my money? It's if it happens, like I said, I'll talk to Tyler because I actually forgot. But if it happens, you'll have to beat him straight up. He'll have to finish, and now granted, if he puts himself in the wall or something, that's a little different. But we'll deal with that when it comes. But
Right.
um, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Did I do results yet? I don't think I did.
No.
Okay. So I know I did stages. So like I said, stage 3, the early caution. Oh, Randy. So again, early caution. We all pitted, went green the rest of the way. Did have green flag pit stops. Mackey, I believe, stayed out 2 or 3 more laps longer than Joey and Brian. And in the end, it obviously. Oh, there you go. See, Tyler's good with the bounty. Well, then, all right. Well, then I'll get in touch with you, Tyler, after this, and we'll figure it out. But like I was saying, Mackey stayed out, I think, 2 or 3 laps longer, and it worked out in the end. He obviously just had the fresher tires from everybody else pushing. So he got the first win, put himself in the chase. The first, I guess you could say, quote unquote, real rookie to grab a win, because I know Martin won Daytona. So actually, Mackey's the first guy to secure a chase spot as well. So he got that. BP, flatline guy second, another flatline guy, Joey third. So we had a great night. As far as championship guys go, owners points, But your guy, Steerman fourth, Adam Pettit ran out the top 5. Martin Pluto, as Robbie calls him, 6th. Blade Timmons 7th. Alex Cummings 8th. Myself 9th, and Jaron Hazen 10th. Yes, Randy. It actually would be, yeah, well, I guess, yeah, either Trey or Burchett, because Burchett is actually the team owner. But yes, I believe he has another ride open too. So, um, but yeah, so I think he actually has another Ford open, so that would work out for you actually. But if not, it takes 2 seconds to set a ride up. So, but yeah, so there's your top 10, and as we look forward to the points, well, we've talked about it all night. Every point matters. Stage points obviously come into effect, but Mackey with his win not only, like I said, locks into the chase, but jumps 5 spots to the lead. BP also jumps 5 to second, still 6 behind Jordan, but obviously second is nothing to be ashamed about, especially with Cup taking 16. Big mover, Joey Stats, 10 spots, goes from 13th to 3rd, 10 behind Mackey, 4 behind Brian. Your guy Stearman actually stays technically 3rd, but he's tied for 3rd now. Alex Cummings loses 3 to 5th. KT McCann gains 5 to 6th. Sorry. Gould was, I believe, the leader. I thought it might have been 2nd, but he loses 6. He goes to 7th. He's tied with Adam Pettit, who gained 6. Scotty Brown loses 4 to 9th. Scott Bellum loses 2 to 10th after having some damage in a wreck. Jeremy Chambers stays 11th. Roy Crump loses 2. He is tied for 11th, technically 12th. Tevez gains 2. He is 13th. Justin Bland, who was a no-show, loses 10, goes from 4th to 14th. 49 behind Jordan, 4 behind Tevez. Nate DeFayette loses 4 to 15th. And then Josh Peacock. Yeah, BP, 2nd. This cup package shoots him, Randy. He's still impressing me. Depending, the racing's obviously tight, and I won't say easy, but it's easier than other classes. But he's surprising me. Joey too. I'm pleased with my championship guys. But anyway, Peacock gains 3, led some laps. I'm not sure if he got stage points or not. No, he did not. He's 1 bonus point. So led some laps, got a bonus point. 53 behind Mackey, 4 behind Nate for 15th, and 1 spot out.
Yep.
The man, the myth, Corey Danielson. Gained 4,
I
though.
don't know about a myth there. I mean, it might be a myth that I'm actually decent.
I mean, no bonus points, no stage points, haven't led any laps yet. Still gained 4 spots. 7 behind Peacock, obviously Cup the longest season, so the term plenty of time still obviously in play here. Hazen missed Daytona, only 1 behind you, and then obviously Bruce, I think he was in the first caution of the night where I'll say this term lightly, little brother, and that's the term I'll say lightly, but little brother put it in the wall coming through the, I guess do they still call it the tri-oval, or I guess the dog leg? What do they call that?
I just call it the dog leg.
Oh, we'll just say the front stretch. Come to the front stretch, the second part of it. He was on outside of Bruce and hit the wall and came down, and they actually net coded, but ruined both their nights. Bruce loses 4 to 19th. John Kennedy got in a wreck with Ronnie Norman, who was actually in my 4th car last night. Norman lost his force feedback, and I guess messed the wheel up or something, and then came into John's. And then 21st and 22nd, the McKinney brothers, new rookies with us. Yeah, I'm talking crap, Jason. You wrecked Bruce. The McKinney brothers, 21st, 22nd. But yeah, that once again though, a big gap to the lead, I'll say, because 53 obviously is more than a race, which I think Jordan finished top 5 at Daytona if I'm not mistaken, but I think Brian did as well. So, but anything can happen, obviously. Like I said, Cup has the longest regular season, the longest season in general. With you guys do have a double point night, I believe, is what we decided for that Pocono event. Long race, obviously, but potentially double points. I'll have to double check with what we actually announced. But, I mean, look at Bland. 4th in points, missed 1 race. Almost just about fell out of the chase. I mean, granted, when the season gets going and, there's more of a gap, it might not happen and be as severe. But even then, man, it's 24 guys have started a race going for a title. So, 8 won't make the chase. And right now you're 8. Like I said, obviously be you. Hazen, which I will say this, if Hazen pays, he'll be one of my picks for the Final Four, actually. Bruce, paid up. I think he'll rebound, obviously, and come on strong. Kennedy is paid. I think he'll come on. The McKinney brothers, I've seen Cody. He goes live on Facebook a lot. He's pretty quick. He runs good just about everywhere. He just actually, I don't know if you heard, he actually money shifted last night.
Yeah. I do remember that because I was damn near caught up in the scrum after that.
Well, I actually didn't know, but because we pitted and I saw him still sitting there and he was running up front I think he was like 3rd the whole first run. The caution had come out and he went to catch the field, and I assume he went to go from third to fourth and hit third to second, and obviously just if you're revving out third gear and you throw it in a second, it's that motor don't stand a chance. So
Nope.
he popped it, pulled over on the backstretch and towed, and then obviously had to fix at least a half hour to swap motors. But I mean, like I said, I'd expect them to make a comeback. Chalk, I talked to him. He actually fell asleep and missed last night, but he says he ran a good bit of Auto Club this week so far, so he'll probably be looking good. And then Mike Robinson, 24th. I think he had allergies or something, so he didn't run. But
Right.
still early, man. Like I said, only 7 points. So that's really, if you could find a way to get some stage points next week, and Peacock doesn't, or even if you can lead a lap, that's 1 point that he won't get unless unless he leads a lap. But what do you think, man? Gonna need some strategy or what?
I mean, the thing that hurt me yesterday, I mean, you were with me there in the final, 20 laps or so? I mean, we're running right next to each other the whole time because, you had your issues and, we're running top 10. And I pitted the lap after, or the lap before a lot of other people. And they made it with like 2 laps left of fuel coming to the checkers. Me, coming near the end, I noticed with about 18 laps to go, I was going to be short. There's a lot of those guys were running in draft. They had a little bit of draft help, and even just saving a little bit of fuel, they were able just to save just that tiny little bit more. I was running all by myself, so I had to flat foot it the whole damn way. And I was catching 9th place pretty damn quick too, but I'm sure he was probably saving fuel as well. And that's when I noticed I'm gonna run out. Like, if I have to save it. I have to save. I'm gonna run out. And I tried to tuck in with you, hopefully get some draft off of you, and save some fuel that way. Obviously, if you're flat-footing it the whole way around the track, it's not gonna help. And that's why I fell back to 12th and where I finished. And it's like, it sucks. That's a couple points that I missed out on, but finishing 12th is a hell of a lot better than running out of fuel 2 laps short and then not finishing the race.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, like we said though, looking at it, you're only 7 points out, and this is obviously I haven't made the post yet, but I'm gonna make a post about payments and stuff. But there could be guys in front of you that haven't paid yet. I know, just looking at standings, there's at least one. So, from here on out, they won't get points if they don't pay. So,
right,
not how you would want to get it, but you might, get in just by default. But it's
right. And I mean, I understand. That's definitely not how anybody wants to make it in, and I'm not banking on that, and I can't bank on that because I definitely cannot bank on that because if I'm just gonna run the rest of the season and be like, well, shit, I'm just gonna be one spot out, and this guy isn't gonna pay, then I'm in. Screw it, YOLO. No, I can't sit on that, and anybody that does is a freaking idiot. And I know damn well like you wouldn't do that. Nobody else would. So with you, asking about strategy wise, like what I've got, potentially planned to, make up some more points to get up there and stuff. Like, ultimately, all I can do is just run my race. Like, I can just try and do what I can. I kind of had a piss poor strategy with qualifying for Vegas just because I was so unsure about how things were going to go. Just because I knew the racing was going to be real tight. So I qualified like piss poor. If you look at my qualifying times, I ran like a 34-second lap for my qualifying time. That was like what, three almost 4 seconds off of the 4 seconds off of the pole time. Mm-hmm. So it's like I just intentionally wanted to just qualify near the back, see how things were gonna go, and then go that route. Which ultimately it kind of bit me in the ass. It did, but it didn't. So, man, I still ran in the top 10 most of the race, finished 12th on the lead lap. I still, actually, I finished a lap down. Shit, that's because I had to save fuel. That's the only reason why I made it. But, like, you know, if I feel like if I would have had like a slightly better strategy with like qualifying, it might have played out better for me. So, I mean, I think for Auto Club next week, you know, I know it's a lot like how Vegas is, flat-footed the whole way, but yet it's flatter track. It's not necessarily as many racing grooves as Vegas has, but qualifying as high up as I possibly can is going to help a little bit better, because I don't think there's going to be very many passing opportunities at Auto Club as there was in Vegas. It's going to be a little bit tougher to pass. So, I mean, I think like my strategy is going to be the same with a lot of guys. Like, if you're going to go into Auto Club and just expect to kind of just sit back on everything and then kind of race your way up through the field, it might not work out that way, because passing is going to be a lot more difficult than Vegas was.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Trey gained that much time on me just from, that little bit on the straightaway. I can't imagine, a full front stretch or a full back stretch at Auto Club, with draft. But it's, like I said, man, plenty of time. I'll have to check, actually, the admin sheets, see who not necessarily has to admin, but who should be adminning, so we're still even. Because obviously I know trucks are off, so you're kind of lucking out for the next 2 weeks. But yeah, if I'm there, I'll try and work with you, give you a little push every now and then. But it's still a long way. Like I said, I'm gonna post here either today or tomorrow about payment, because it's rules are rules, and it's not fair to guys to pay, and guys don't have to pay. So
Right, I hear you. And I mean, I'm just going to say right now, if there's anybody watching that's running the Cup Series or any series yet and has not paid, get your fucking money in, damn it. I know Josh doesn't want to make the chase by, somebody defaulting. I don't want to make the chase by somebody defaulting. Pay, damn it. I mean, it's tax season. Pay. Please.
yeah, I'm just answering Stearman, because, like I said, I think the straightaways, if you can pull out and obviously have somebody pushing you, I think it'll be the same. But I think once you get in the corner, it'll probably even out like Vegas. It obviously depends on if you're getting pinched hard or whatnot. But I know there's a couple nights left of the officials running there. I know I signed up for a race last night, and the old phone rang because the girlfriend got off work and wanted to grab food. So yeah, I lost 102 iRating from that one. I was like number 6 or number 7 and finished last. So
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those guys that says the hell with the officials races, just because they're bullshit anyway. Every time I get into an officials race, it's just a crapshoot. So, I mean, literally the only iRacing I do is in NORA. I don't run officials anymore. They piss me off too much. And, I mean, I understand a lot of reason why a lot of guys do. Just because I ran with a guy at Cyber that specifically wanted schedules to go around like the iRacing schedules because of that reason. You can jump into officials and have the extra cars around you and stuff like that on track. But now it doesn't really matter so much more with AI and everything. But it's like with the AI, like they're AI, they're computer guys. So it's like they're going to run like robots. Whereas, you're going to have guys out there in officials races that drive like idiots. You might have that in a league night. I mean, I know Stearman's probably going to chime in any moment and be like, yeah, like that asshole Corey guy. But, I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, shit, I could go out there next week and completely shit the bed. Somebody's going to have to avoid me. And I know running officials races, that's what you prepare for doing that. But I guess like if anybody who's going to prepare for any races and stuff like that, like you're going to do it your own way. And I know so many guys do run the officials races, but that's not for me. I mean, I can't do it. It pisses me off too much.
Well, I mean, like Steerman said, more so about like the passing and whatnot, less tire wear. Yeah, like I said, I haven't run the official because the one I did sign up for was B fixed, and like I said, I had to jump. But Adam and Keegan ran. I think they said it was a little snug, um, which just seems to be the trend for the B car. But and Tyler kind of basically said exactly how I'm looking at it too. The only reason I'm running officials lately is to practice. I mean, granted, the weather and the fuel load's different for the B and the Cup, and then obviously the weather for trucks. But it's just you can get a general feel. Strategy wise, no, like I said, because of the fuel, but you'll get a general basis like, oh well, I got to lift here, or I can pick up the gas here, you know. And yes, Tyler will help me get on the pit road better, but yeah, I mean I understand why people don't, but that's kind of why I did it this year to where we're following it, just so that way, if guys wanted to, they wouldn't have to put a server up. They could just join an official and kind of gain some practice there. But I don't know. Like I said, long season, a lot of stories I'm sure will develop as we start going. I know obviously Monday's going to be boring this next week and then the week after because trucks are off, but I'm sure we'll fill the void.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like I might try and jump in and run B car next week. All depends on the fiance, and at the very least, I'm gonna see if I can't get in and admin it for you guys or something.
Well, I know Randy stepped up for that just so we can have another set because I know obviously for Cup nights you and Brian run, and then obviously B is Chad, and then trucks it's me, Jake, and Randy. So we're kind of limited somewhat, but now like I said,
Right.
Randy stepped up. He's been a good help. So I mean, if anybody wants to try, doors open. Obviously, the more help, the better. But it's just I got. I know the guys we have, like Jake even said it last night, Randy's just good to work with. Like something will happen and Jake will say, "Hey, are you looking at that?" And Randy go, "I'm already on it." And, they just gelled. And I know from doing the B race too, Randy. Nothing happened obviously because we went green, but Randy was on top of the stuff. I wouldn't have to say anything and he'd be looking at it. So
Oh yeah, I mean, so far with having Randy as admin, I mean, it's been a blast, and it's been a hell of a time adminning with you guys. Period. You guys are a lot of fun to chat with, and even just doing admin duties. I mean, you guys are a little more lighthearted about it, and I know there have been certain things lately to where we've been having issues with and stuff, and it's been on me on that, and I'm just gonna say like things happen, it's how things go, and it's like regardless, I mean, if there's anybody out there that does want to consider being an admin, it's really not bad. It's pretty easy shit, and like with me admitting the Vegas Trucks race, it was a cakewalk. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of stuff to look at, but dude, like for the most part, it really wasn't that difficult.
and Tyler said he could help admin if needed. I mean, Tyler, like I said, the door's open, man. But it's not. I mean, it could be easy. Obviously, like I said, the B race had no cautions, and obviously there's nothing really to look at besides starts and pit road. But it gets to be a lot. Obviously, when guys get green flag pit stops, and you're trying to look at how many stalls and this and that, so it can be a lot. It's not for everyone. Some guys, just want to race. Some guys think they can do it, and they try it, and they're like, oh, that's a little much for me or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, we can talk, Tyler. Like I said, I'll message you about the bounty thing anyway. But um, Corey, that's pretty much all I have. I guess your final thoughts, I guess, as a whole, and then I guess per series if you want to do that, or you can just do it as a whole. It don't matter to me, buddy.
Uh, I guess first off with the truck series, I mean, I'm just gonna piggyback off of what I said earlier about how wild I think the season is gonna be. I mean, I agree with you. I think all three of the series are gonna be insane. But with the truck series and how many heavy hitters there are that still have yet to really put their name out there and get their name on the board, like if there's anybody watching that is not part of the league and just wants to watch some good wholehearted racing and a lot of excitement, watch the truck series on Monday nights because my God, there's a lot of heavy hitters in this league that win anywhere else that do not have a win yet. Watch this series because holy hell, it's going to be wild to watch for the rest of the season. And I know trucks have a couple weeks off, but I know damn well when you guys come back at Atlanta, oh man, it's the perfect track to come back at. Don't call out Hotlanta for nothing, and I know the trucks are going to light it up. And as for the B series, with Ethan just dominating the way he has been, it's good luck, guys. I'm just glad I'm not running the B series. That's all I can say is good luck. And as for that whole bounty, I agree. If you guys want to, I'll talk with you when you're done talking with Tyler Conover. I might have something too. If all goes the way everybody expects. And as for the Cup Series, I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, that package last night was a lot of fun. It was difficult, but it was a lot of fun. And hopefully I can get my ass from the outside looking in and get my way in and stay in. So here's looking forward to a fantastic 2020 season in all three series.
Hey, man, I couldn't agree more with what you just said. Like I said, I'm kind of bummed. We're going to be off, but that's part of running the quote-unquote development series. You don't get to run as much as the big boys, but
Right.
like I said, if we're not admin, and we'll be in there, we'll be mixing up with either you or going for Ethan or something. So,
Right.
but Steerman, I saw your comment earlier. Put me in the car. I appreciate that I'm recommended, but I'm a team owner, man. We can't run other rides, or I would in a heartbeat. I'd like to team up with you
Yeah.
guys.
I mean, it would be nice to put you in one of my cars, but just wouldn't feel the same. And I mean, I'm not good enough to go in one of your cars, so there's that.
Well, you have a team in all three anyway, so you can't. But
It's true.
Jake's open for B car. I mean, he has his own. Oh, actually, no, he doesn't. He'd be open for Cup. And
Yeah, because I was going to put him in the 19 for Daytona.
yeah, he's open for Cup because I was gonna say trucks too, but he runs for me for trucks. But that's all you got, man. That's all I got. I think it's been a fun episode again. Hopefully, we can get on it next week maybe or following week, whatever. We'll figure something out, some kind of schedule. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Saw a couple new guys in the chat. Always fun to chat with you guys and kind of take a step back from racing and kind of just talk about the races for once. Maybe in a future episode we can get Robbie on and a couple other guys on and have some more conversations.
Hell yeah. I think that'd be fun. Let's try to do that one.
All right, man. Well, for myself, a couple of couldn't be here. I know, Randy, you were in the chat, but Jake, Brian, Randy, Corey, you can say your chows in a second, but that's all I got. Corey, you can take us home.
All right, guys. Again, just want to tell y'all thank you for watching. Fuck you, Bella. Sorry. Daughter's talking shit in the back. But anyways, just want to tell y'all thanks for watching. Keep an eye out. It's going to be a good year.
Heck yeah, man. Randy, thank you. Was a little short on things to put on screen tonight. I kind of just had the top three and then the points, but So I'm got to talk to JJ. He was thinking about making me some slides and whatnot, but um, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, because JJ said he was good with all that stuff as far as like graphics and all that, because he's actually our main logo guy. But yeah, I'll talk to him, see what he can do. I know he said he likes managing all this stuff and whatnot. 'Cause I actually talked to him about managing the slides and whatnot. But I'm rambling now. Randy, thank you. As Corey said, thank you everybody else for tuning in and kind of chatting with us, keeping us occupied and giving us some more topics to talk about. But we'll see you guys for the most part Wednesday night for the B race at Auto Club, and or Thursday night for the Cup race, and then probably Corey, if you're not busy, I guess we'll be back next Friday.
I'll be here.
Sweet. Like I said, maybe we can get some more people, maybe grab Robbie for a little bit, but that is all we have, folks. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Yep. Peace out, Girl Scouts.